Hello everyone, welcome back to another stream where we are going through the lore of Dark Souls 3 very casually, mostly to gain footage for future videos for the channel. Yesterday we went through and killed the Crystal Sage, and we started at the very beginning of Farron Keep, so that's where we will lead off for today as well. So, hope everybody's having a good day and is able to make it for the stream. Venom, welcome back to the stream. You said, time to fight a bunch of furries. Oh boy. Yeah, so yesterday we did get invaded a little bit. Not quite so many furries, but yeah. There's a decent more amount of those as we'll proceed for sure. So in the channel news, I do finally have my video pretty much almost ready for announcing like the channel membership. And hopefully that will be done by a couple hours after the stream, if not even that long. And then hopefully the channel memberships will be live starting tomorrow. So right now we are going back through and lighting all the little beacons, or I don't know how to say, like, you like those ones, okay? And so yeah, that's what we'll be continuing. So yesterday we kind of only covered the very beginning area of the map and the right side, and so I'll just kind of systematically go back over to where we were, continue from there. I kind of meant to go back and buy some purple moss, but I forgot, because purple moss is a little bit invaluable? Wow, I can't speak. It's invaluable trying to go through a poisonous swamp. So I think after I kill these things, I might just go back to Firelink Shrine. I think the Handmaiden has them, and if not, hopefully Grey Rat does. So yeah, we did advance a little bit of the NPC quests. So we got Yuria, we did Yol and all that stuff yesterday. Well, Yol was a little bit before, but yeah. But we didn't go through the Cathedral of the Deep quite yet, just because I wanted to kind of fight the Abyss Walkers and deal with the swamp. We will need to go back there eventually anyway, so it's not that big a deal. So Bridge, welcome back to the stream. You said don't turn my back on the wolf pack. Hello. And Brisson says, hey LP, do you know what your next Bloodborne lore video will be about? So I am in the process of writing another script, so the next one will be a little bit easier for me to produce, just because it's a little bit of an interesting juggling act of balancing the stream as well as creating more lore videos. So the next one will be about some more miscellaneous translation differences between the two versions of the game. There are some topics that I didn't touch on quite yet that are kind of fun to look at and speculate about, so I think there's going to be a decent subset of people that'll look forward to that. So that's the next one that I have planned for right now. I do have a really big video planned for like stagnation and all that, but I do want to get as much of the Dark Souls 3 footage as I can. And that's going to be a really big topic anyway, that I need to gather more of my thoughts for. So that's kind of the real big one that I'm looking forward to next, as far as the topics that I haven't gone into super depth about, but yeah. Talk to the Handmaiden.
Oh.
So I guess she only has 6? I guess I don't have enough. Well, that's okay. I don't really need prism stones, so let's go ahead and buy some more charcoal vine.
Ashen 1.
So yes, everybody, welcome back into the stream. It's nice to see you all again. Hope you're all having a good day and looking to chill. Mortis Volt, you're gonna sick Ludwig on the wolves. And Gabriel, I missed your message, so welcome back to the stream. Nice to see you again. Hopefully you looked through the Discord and did see that Frozen Regent was going to look into some of the more of the Portuguese stuff. Haven't heard so much from Frozen lately, so if you give them a ping, I'm sure they'll probably be interested in others interested on that topic as well. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of a outside force to get the motivation to do that kind of thing. So Gone Ace, welcome to the stream. Nice to see you. What's up? You know, just going through Dark Souls 3 to get some more footage for lore videos and chilling with a bunch of cool people while we do it. I'm deciding if I want to go up the ladder just yet. I'll just leave that for now. And then try to avoid getting poisoned a little bit while I can. So those grew are where we came from before, and I just want to go to the other edge of the map, mostly for now. And then Ramus, welcome back to the stream. Or is it Ramus? Not sure. So if you let me know, I'll try to do a better job of pronouncing that correctly. I felt like asking yesterday, but I also felt a little bit silly. So, see a piece of candy over there. Gonna go try to get the treasure. And there's an Estus soup over there, I think. And I think that Gru saw us. Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot that it just kind of shoots, like not humanity sprites, but kind of like things that are kind of like Gnaw. Oh, that's not good. So this thing isn't doing as much damage as I thought. Well, it doesn't help if I roll to my death. Yeah. So I was taking a little bit more damage than I thought for as poorly as I was playing, but that's fine. So I just gave my dog a present, and now she's thanking me. I might need to take a second to put her in bed and bundle her up because she's spoiled rotten. So Ramus, okay. Okay. I'll try to remember that in the future. So that's where we got died. I think there's just like Titanite stuff over on this corpse. Oh, Wolf's Blood Swordgrass. We can read that now. See it. Feel blind. Not in here. Oh, there we go. So this is a leaf signifying a duty fulfilled by the watchdogs of Farron, who stand beside the old wolf to ensure the serenity of those at rest. Depicts a swordgrass leaf stained with dried blood. Long ago, the swordgrass leaf quietly identified members of the Undead Legion. In the rotted forest rest the spirits of warriors past. Their acceptance of and gratitude toward their guardians is expressed eloquently by the humble leaf. This is interesting. I don't remember if this is just like the Covenant item. Yeah, I think it is, because it doesn't really have any other utility, it seems. So use this to level up at the giant wolf, whom we will see later. Dog reveal when? I will probably post that onto the Discord a little bit later. For sure. Show the puppy. I don't have a camera to show the puppy. Not that I would. Ramu says you quite like how Dark Souls 3 has all different sprites for their boss souls. Yeah, I do like that as well. And so there is like a kind of an attached lore to that. So like the Greatwood has like what looks like to be a bunch of smaller souls, and then the Crystal Sage is more blue and it's got like those little crystal-esque or crystalline specks by it. Though I guess it's probably just exactly the same as the Dancers. But never mind what I said about the specs, but yeah. Dancers is a bit more generic, I suppose. So this will tell us it's about soup, essentially, yep. So the Sunlight Talisman, and so we do get some more graves around here, and we can see what appear to be Gru, just kind of prowling around over there. Those ones seem a little more dog-like than a few of the others, but they're still most likely descended from him. Even their grass is edgy. Well said, Bree. So now that we got that, we're going to continue towards the right. Probably towards that big Gru over there. Get to land, which we can't. Ooh, I thought I rolled way too early for that. Like I said, you can kite them into the flames sometimes. Me trying to be cheeky and it's not working out. Should probably heal myself with the poison though. Oh sweet, it was on the fire. Oh, that's not so sweet. Keep forgetting when I pull out my binoculars. Okay, really good state. And then we get a stone great shield. Interesting. So yeah, the stone great shield also ties into the Ulasil or Darkroot Garden or Basin of Dark Souls 1, because the kind of sentinel giant knights over there had it. So this is a mossy stone disc. Though terribly heavy, it can serve as a shield. The disc is a relic of ancient magic, and one can practically feel the power flowing through it. Pretty straightforward. It's got real good defense, but it also weighs a ton. We won't be using that. Where was it going? Okay, so there's treasure over there, which I know we haven't gotten. Oh yeah, we were heading this way. I think this is a different, what's it called? Place for the fire, or that might have been where we first got it. Yeah, I think so, because it kind of looks like it. Yeah. So this is where we came to light our first signal fire. Oh, forgot about that. Oh, that's weird. Is that, can you just like visceral it after it goes down on all fours like that? It's definitely been a while since I've been over here. Mortis says, you know why you play with the HUD off, but it's still very impressive that I do it in the first place. It gets, you know, like after you get used to it, I mean, you kind of get used to it, you get a better feel of how much health you have. The real difficulty is just like coming into new areas and not knowing how much damage enemies are doing. And in slow moments, I can just go ahead and like check my stats. So I have 1,034 HP out of 1045, so I'm not too worried about where I am right now. The other part is just kind of knowing how much your Estus heals you. So that definitely threw me off at first, because I guess I was a bit more used to Bloodborne having like almost like a set 33%, whereas the Estus wasn't going quite as much for my dancer fights. But once I did turn the HUD on and got a better feel for it, it became easier after that fact. So, okay, this is where we first came through. I'm going to go back to the front side just to go along the wall again. So this is where we first came to, and then the entrance to the swamp is over there, like way past those basilisks. So with the wall towards our right, we're going to proceed this way, even though it'll just be like a small circle, but it's all good. Easier to 100% things that way. To jump. The real danger is like stuff like the basilisk for sure. And not knowing how much curse I'm taking. Especially if there's two of them. Yeah, okay, that was totally my fault. But even still, I don't have a lot to do with the curse right now. I guess I could change my equipment, but I'm a little bit stubborn, so we'll just kind of deal. So Mortis says you can riposte when that happens, when we bring the big old Gru down to its fours. Okay, good to know. Estus soup for the soul, the dark soul. I'm not going to worry about the soup for now. I will try to jump. Roll past these jerks. And so now the fun part of literally waiting for my poison meter to go back down a little bit. We're just being impatient and running forward anyway. was hoping my noise would alert that Gru over there, but we can try to kite him into the fire again. So I don't really remember the story behind the Gru. I think there's a few items which talks about them a little bit, but there's not a ton going with that. So while fire is bad for enemies, it is also bad for me. Duly noted. I thought he was going to do the AoE thing. Ooh, 544, yeah. Definitely need to play better. 954. Okay. That's not too bad. Davin Sosa, welcome back to the stream. You said your least favorite level, Ethereal Oak Shield, makes it bearable. I really don't mind the swamps too much, but I guess I'm a little bit of an anomaly as far as like the fans go. I think... Nope. Trying to roll, a little bit slow on that. Ooh, I'm about to die, aren't I? No, I'm not blue yet. That's close. Okay. That's not too bad. And getting the hang of those guys. A bit more as we go. And so, it's kind of... That was... Oh, he jumped. I thought he died. So, it's kind of weird that those Gru right here seem to bleed like a kind of blackish color. I don't really have too many thoughts about that. I'm just kind of noticing it. So, Ramu says you believe they're the successor to demons. I do think it does say that somewhere as well. I don't remember. I think they might have been people that prayed to humans, or did demons, but don't fully remember. Gabriel says, what are those magic orbs? Remind you of the Executioner's gloves? Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. They've obviously got like skulls on them, so they seem to be related to spirits of the dead to some degree. They are very similar to like the Executioner's gloves. That's also a kind of attack that appears somewhat frequently in these games. Not that one specifically, but just like magic attacks that will conjure like skulls and stuff. Thought there was some more. Let's over here. Try to get to land. Oh, I'm on land. Okay. So they might try to gank me. Yep. The weird thing is, I thought I was one-shotting them with the jumping attack yesterday, but now I'm not doing it. Maybe those are the bigger ones. And I thought I also infused the weapon, so it should have been dealing a bit more damage, but it's okay, I guess. The Gru looking at me? Yeah, okay. Okay, only go for the one. Wait. That was definitely cool, for sure. And Devin guy, hey, welcome to the stream, man. It's nice to see you here. You say farming those guys for the shield forehead? No, I'm just kind of going through the area, 100%ing it really slowly. If you guys don't know, Devin guy is also a streamer. He's on Twitch, and he plays a lot of Soulsborne games, goes through the lore, and talks about that. I know he does Demon Souls, Dark Souls 3, Bloodborne, Sekiro, so if you guys are ever on Twitch, try to check out his channel for sure. Ramu says, you believe they're the successor of demons? Oh, I read that one. And since they use a lot of poison, which is heretic pyromancy. The red skulls remind you of the Gale fight, kind of. Yeah, for sure. And so, It could just be that they're like channeling either like latent souls or so it's a little bit hard. Let's say spirits. Okay, yeah, that's probably the better way to say it. They're probably channeling a latent spirits like within the swamp, because we do see like there's like corpse sacks hanging from trees. All of the water is poisonous. We see graves everywhere. A lot of fungi, but I suppose it's not like 100% explicit. But yeah, we're gonna stick with the walls. I don't think there's any other hidden items over here just yet. Just for the sake of completion and coordinating things off, using the landmarks is going to be to our advantage. Okay, so it really does just lead straight up back into where the bonfire is. So I guess we've already cleared that section of the map. So I'll go ahead and rest at the bonfire and then go up the ladder before going back down and exploring that way. I just thought that portion of the map was a bit larger than it was, but thought there was like another item along the wall over there, although I might be thinking of past the ramp. I mean, that obviously sounds more right after having just exhausted this area, but we'll see. I hope I'm on land right now. Okay, I think I would. Soup's that way, so we'll go ahead and, I believe, unlock the next covenant and see some really cool throwbacks up here. Mortis says, you know that Farron Keep is what became of Ulasil and the Darkroot Garden, but still what calamity occurred to where it became a toxic wasteland? That's a very good question, and it does bring into question some of the other landscape, or like the other geographical locations that we go to, because the Darkroot Garden was like next to like a waterfall, and that went down to more like the actual Ulasil, and right next to that it was essentially like the Firelink Shrine and where the tower was. So that is almost kind of like where Lothric is now, and I don't remember my geography exactly. Oh, so that might have been the location where it was. I don't remember where that is on this map specifically. So yeah, now that we are up here though, we can get a bit of a better look at some of the landscape. So that kind of looks like the undead settlement. I don't know if that's it for sure. It'll be a bit clearer once we get to like the top of the wall. So that's where Lothric is, and so this is like the Lothric High Wall that we're kind of on right now, like the bridge that brought us over there, and we'll see a bit more of that later on. So that's one of the bonfires that we just kind of put out already, and then that's another one, and then here's the third one. So we do get a pretty good layout of the land as we proceed through. Oh, that's probably the Cathedral of the Deep. What am I thinking? That'd make the most sense. With Twinkling Titanite, which is always nice. Secret ahead. I think we have to actually hit the wall here. Yeah. So this is the Dream Chaser's Ashes, and it would have been a little bit obvious that there was a secret there, because when you come in you see this corpse just kind of hanging there, so that's how that kind of works. So we'll read that right before we talk to the wolf. So just to kind of show everybody, yep, that's where we came from. Yeah. Then we get a nice little bonfire because it's next to the Covenant and easy to access. Is it a key item? Yeah, it's got to be. Okay. Let me catch up with the chat. So, Devin says, when the wolf blood dried up, the swamp became fetid and poisonous. And you can't remember which item says that. So, yeah, it's a little bit weird that the area seems to be connected to the wolves. I guess there's, Sif in Dark Souls 1 and the origin of this wolf that we're about to look at is a bit of a mystery, but presumably they're all related to either Sif or Artorias directly from like their kind of a blood covenant, I think would be the best way to describe it. Vanya Arsik, welcome back to the stream. You said, Lothric from this side reminds you of Anne Orlando from the Ulasil Sanctuary. Yeah, and I do think they did that kind of thing deliberately to supplant the imagery of Anne Orlando with that of Lothric to just kind of show the what's the word hereditary inheritance, something like that, to just show that like there is that kind of direct linking between Lothric's line and potentially like the gods of Anne Orlando. But yeah, it's a bit weird how it really ties back into Dark Souls 1 and we don't get a lot of direct information, so we just kind of have to roll with it. So Remus says, you believe this is the sunken remains of Ulasil, like closer to the chasms of the abyss. You believe there's an implication that the abyss is forever sinking. And that's a decent point as well. We do note that the chosen undead did kind of stop the abyss from leaking out of Ulasil in the before times, I guess, for lack of a better description. And so maybe with so much distance in time from that earlier time period, now like the abyss is seeking back out again, and we do find the abyss walkers in this area, so there is that kind of thematic connection as well. So that's a good point. So Whitetrix, welcome to the stream. You said, it is a kind of futile effort to locate Dark Souls 1 locations in 3's map, as the lands converging are and untold millennia makes it impossible to pinpoint anything. Yeah, and that's a decent point, but nonetheless, it is kind of fun to remember where things used to be and see where they kind of ended up. But that is kind of the for sure, like, developer, hey, don't think about this too much, just kind of roll with it explanation for everything. Mortis says, you're afraid you don't quite understand what that means when Sif's corpse mummified the swamp became toxic? Well, there's a possibility that Sif or this wolf could have been like a Seirei, and if you've ever seen a movie like Princess Mononoke or some other forms of like Japanese movies and stories, there are like certain spirits that are tied to physical locations, and so if like that spirit is damaged or killed, that'll cause like the physical surroundings around it to become kind of tainted or impure as well. Or so like with Spirited Away, like a lot of the spirits go into the bathhouse to get rejuvenated, and so I don't want to like go into that too much more, but basically like if the wolf is the guardian of the forest and the guardian dies, that could mean like the forest is going to die too. Yeah, that's my take on it anyway, but there might be another reason for sure. Devin says, the Farron is 100% Ulasil. All of the Ulasil items are there, and the corpses of the Mushroom Bros. We agree. Dusk items, sorceries, all the things. And White Trick says, yes, Farron is one of the few exceptions. Nice that they made it clear. Eric Gondo, welcome back to the stream, and hello to yourself. Ortiz says, you're afraid you haven't, but you know the concept. Okay. And Devin says, the wolf's blood, he believes, is both Sif and Artorias' blood, and they're kind of synonymous in this case, but it is pretty vague. Yeah, agreed. So this is the Dream Chaser's Ashes, and I think I looked at this in Japanese once. I don't remember if I translated the whole thing, but I'll talk about that briefly later. It's not important at all. It's just something that just came into my mind. So this is Umbral Ash of one who dreamt of joining the Undead Legion. With this, the Shrine Handmaiden will prepare new items. In the end, the Dream Chasers who wandered aimlessly in the rotted forest found a sense of fulfillment. Maybe it was the Paladin's ashes that I saw. Oh, wait. Okay. I'm starting to remember. So I think there is another item related to the Shrine Handmaiden herself. I think it's when we give her this one that she remarks, like, where did you find this? And she has a very different, like, kind of a reaction to the ashes. And I think there's another item that talks about somebody who went to go chase their dreams, and so they're probably like related to the Handmaiden. I know that's a little bit obvious for like a lot of people who went into this. I just don't remember what that other information was, because there was a term that was reused in Japanese because I was trying to look at whether or not there was anything related to Champion Gunder or champions in general, and I ended up like stumbling upon the Dream Chaser stuff. I don't think that stuff was related. I don't fully remember, but yeah. Unfortunately, I haven't had a lot of free time with trying to or manage some of the channel stuff as well as some of my real life stuff to go back and look at some of the stuff that I wanted to look at in between the streams. So hopefully once I do finish up this next channel update video, I'll be able to look at some of this stuff a bit more in depth and come back to you guys with what I find. So let's keep our eyes out for when we do give this to the Shrine Handmaiden. So somebody was wandering listlessly. They joined the Undead Farron Legion and finally found acceptance, and then they died. Well, that's not a flattering angle, is it? So Devin says, "Oh, you never thought about that parallel? Kind of like the Princess Mononoke as well." Yeah, exactly. Kasky Nightblade, welcome to the stream. You said it's awesome to catch this. Hello, everyone. Hello to yourself as well, and I'm glad you're able to join us. Mortice Volt says, but yeah, while with the lands converging, the geography of the world gets messed up. Earthen Peak from Dark Souls 2 is now sideways and is above the Firelink Shrine from Dark Souls 1. Yeah, and then with the DLC, we can find like a completely different Firelink, more analogous to the one of Dark Souls 1 as well. So Devin says, you think these ashes are holding a necklace or the pendant? Maybe a reference to the joke item pendant in Dark Souls 1. So yeah, thank you for bringing that up. That's a good point as well. So if we do look at it, it does resemble Miyazaki's favorite starting item, the pendant in Dark Souls 1. For those who don't really know about that, ages back when Dark Souls 1 was first coming out, some interviewer asked Miyazaki about like what item he likes to start with, and so Miyazaki gave like a kind of cryptic answer. It's like, oh, I personally prefer to use the pendant. And so people read into that like super hard, like, oh shit, if the developer uses the pendant, it really must have a secret attached to it. But Miyazaki was just trolling everybody. It's just kind of a joke item. So him saying that he likes to pick it up was just kind of a joke on the players. So I find it absolutely hilarious, but at the same time, I do understand a lot of people's frustrations with it. So, yeah. Devin says, you think these ashes are Okay, I read that. And then Mortis says, you believe it was discovered that the Demon Prince boss room was what remained of the Dark Souls 1 Firelink Shrine. Yes, exactly. And Scott, welcome back to the stream. It's nice to see you. And yeah, we're just continuing where we left off from yesterday. So this is the aforementioned wolf that I was talking about. It's not really like petrified, but maybe this is what a wolf is supposed to look like when it's drained of blood. It's a little bit hard to say. It does resemble more of a statue than an actual living creature. So we can pray to the old wolf of Farron, and then that will allow us to join its covenant. I do wish I was in offline mode just to get rid of some of these notes. Let's see if I can't do that, just because I do want the footage. For now. I don't even remember. Okay. So I will restart this. For those of you who may not know, part of the motivation for starting the stream was to obtain more lore footage for future videos. So at times I will like either die on purpose or fight bosses multiple times or enemies multiple times and fish for like grabs or whatever just to see what they do and to get that footage because it looks cool, really. So yeah. And then as I said yesterday, I do want to fight the Abyss Walkers maybe once or twice on my own, and then I'll start summoning people just to get more footage from like different perspectives. So I will try to stick to that for sure, because it's one of my favorite fights. Then we'll get to see what that's all about. Let me try to find a good angle for this. Okay, I think this should be decent enough. Alright, so yeah, that was cool enough. And if you do give the item to it. I don't really think the first one matters too much. I'm not going to worry too much about the covenants now. If anything, I might just hoard some of the items just to keep it in line. Don't remember if I actually healed. I think I just triggered it, so I'll leave that for now. And then we'll go fight a really cool enemy from the before times. Grim the Derm, welcome back in. It's nice to see you. Ramus says it's actually a running joke on the From Software games with the pendant. So Giacomo Rinaldi, welcome back to the stream. You said, you think the ashes are just holding the Watchdog Covenant symbol? Let's check that out. I think, yeah, that's also a fair reading on that for sure. Because it does have the same thing. And thank you for bringing that up, because I kind of would have forgotten to read that. So let's look at the ashes again. So yeah, there is a very good chance of that. So I think you could probably take it either way. But I think the Watchdog one is definitely the more on brand, since it does say that he finally found his sense of fulfillment. And that's kind of related to the Covenant, obviously. So Davin says, oftentimes in From games, poisoned areas are located downriver from more occupied industrialized areas, may be representative of governmental neglect or the cost of a given society's ambitions. Blighttown and Ashina Depths might be examples of this. And yeah, that's a very good point. And so when we do have examples of like that kind of thing, I do like to compare them to the parallels in movies like Princess Mononoke, where the humans in the settlements were like stripping the land of both trees and minerals, and so that caused like the latent spirits in the area to kind of revolt against them. So there is a lot of respect given to the land and things like that. And so pollution, whether that be man-made or a product of like a battlefield, it can have really adverse effects on an environment, and so that is kind of portrayed pretty strongly in a lot of Japanese media, I think. So Giacomo Rinaldi says, try hitting the wolf, it bleeds, it's not a statue. So it does have blood still? Okay, that's cool. And Morty says, though the world geography has been deforming since Dark Souls 2, your evidence of this is also from the Earthen Peak. After completing it, if you take the elevator up into the sky and end up in a land that sunk into a lava sea. Risan says they always had canon that it was a volcano, but that works too. The lore is that the Iron Kingdom got so heavy it sunk. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know too much about 2 yet. I might be forced to play that on stream. Who knows? I might need that kind of a additional encouragement to do it. Don't remember. I did have my binoculars out. So this is like the Taurus demon from Dark Souls 1. It's just kind of wandering aimlessly. It's got a bunch of like rocks covering it. Like its skin has turned into rocks. It has petrified. There are very few demons left. They're much, I don't want to say like less lively, but I don't know how else to describe it compared to how they were in Dark Souls 1. This is a cool fight. I might die to him just to show off some of its attacks, I guess. So it's got a lot of the same moveset from Dark Souls 1. A lot of people will be familiar with that. This is perfect. So yeah, you can totally get yeeted way the hell off the bridge here. I wasn't trying to do that, but I guess that works. So this is the Stray Demon. Okay. So Morty says, Dark Souls 2 is your area of expertise, so if I've got any questions to ask him, you'll try to answer to the best of your ability. Thank you. I appreciate that a lot. And so as, who was it that pointed it out? Giacomo said, if we hit this wolf, it does bleed. It's got like a really toxic looking kind of blood. It's definitely reminiscent of like the blood-starved beast's blood in Bloodborne, and or like the rotted corpses in like a bunch of the sewers or the Forbidden Woods as well. So that could tie into why the swamp is all poisonous as well. Alright, so this time I will try to kill the demon for real. If I die, I die. Oh shit, I totally forgot to actually record today. Rip. Rip. Oh man. Well, I'm recording now. It's funny. I was a little bit rushed to start the stream, and I mean, I started on time, which is perfect, but I felt like I was forgetting something. And I totally was. Actually, let's go pick this up. So I missed the Dream Chaser's Ashes. I don't think I want to save Scum. I don't have a super close save, but that's okay. It's not too important where it is right now. So he hit super hard. I'm already at my 30% mark. It's not what I meant to do. No, that's fine. But I do want to get grabbed again, just because it looks cool. And if I ever do talk about these kind of demons, it's definitely one I want to mention in the future. So KB Abysswalker, welcome back to the stream. Nice to have you again. And then Kerm says, it took you a while to realize that the blood-starved beast was wearing its own skin like a hood. Yeah, and that's actually one of the things that I was going to mention in the next Bloodborne video about the translations. So internally, it's called like the self-flagellated beast. And so, yeah, the supplemental material on the PlayStation website specified that like it thirsted for blood so much it ended up like ripping the skin off of its own back so that it could drink its own blood, which is just super metal. So yeah, the Blood-Starved Beast is definitely one of the cooler bosses. In my opinion, it just mechanically a little bit easier compared to some of the others, although I do know that it does stop quite a decent amount of players on their first playthroughs. But for me, if you just kind of step in and to the left, it really trivializes the fight a bit. Here we go, here we go. Got bouldered. Boulder dashed. So yeah, that kind of establishes it as a mini boss. I forgot that I probably wanted to like save Scum just to get a better death cam, because I kind of screwed that up. I thought it was gonna look cool, but its hammer got in the way. It's okay. I'll obviously deal with it, but for sure, something that could have been improved upon. So an ember, a great axe, and another ember. So some good stuff. So I'll catch up on chat and then check out some of the items. And so Giacomo says to Mortis, no offense, but it's clear that the developers kind of forgot to connect the Earthen Peak to Iron Keep in a believable way, even taking into account the geographical distortion. Dark Souls 3 and Lothric's layout is how you build up a fucked up but still believable map. Vanya says, it isn't the first instance where we see royalty using demons as for servants. And then Kerm says, you go with the speedrunner's tech and just throw the blood cocktails in the corner and rip it apart with the pellets and fire paper. See, I'm a little bit too stingy with my items. So even though I know that's like super easy to do, and I don't even think there's a really good application of the pungent blood cocktails aside from the blood-starved beast, I really don't use that very often. I've been doing it a bit more in my like more recent playthroughs just because I know about it and I have to think about it more than I normally would, I guess. Davin says, the actual explanation for the Earthen Peak to lava level from the Dark Souls 2 Designworks interview, he thinks, is that it's supposed to communicate having been on a long journey where shit just blurs together. Xanthus King Jeremiah, welcome back. And we've just been going back through Farron Keep and looking at all the items that I haven't gotten quite yet, and then we'll be channeling the signal flares or fires into the door to go fight the Abyss Walkers. So Mortis says, Giacomo, you agree that's why you have to stretch like this so much to understand it. It is a little silly. Because it's part of the lore now, we have to deal with it. Yeah. It's fun. It's also annoying, but definitely annoying, yeah. I just repeated myself, but whatever. And Venom says, Havel's armor shows up in this arena after you beat him at Archdragon Peak. Why? That's a very good question, and Havel is another one of those recurring characters that really makes people rip their hair out as far as like the disagreements that go in the community. So there are a couple ways to read Havel. He could be a specific individual. Havel could also be a land of people, and it has like its own bishops and knights and all of the things that go along with that. What's it gonna do? I thought there was something else over here. I thought we could open this. Yeah, I know we can. So I just need to climb the wall. Okay, yeah. So yeah, with the Havel stuff, it could be read as a single individual or it could be read as a group. If Havel is one figure, it would be kind of hard to explain why he shows up in item descriptions in Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3. But if it's multiple people or a person who, or multiple people who have like inherited his set, it's a bit more easily explainable. As to why his set would show up here after Archdragon Peak, it's a little bit hard to say. I suppose one could argue that Archdragon Peak doesn't really exist. It's kind of like a different plane in a similar vein to the, what are they called? The nightmares in Bloodborne. And so if you kill him in the metaphysical world, apparently that might connect right here in the physical world, which is a little bit odd because I know you can access Archdragon Peak from the Irithel dungeons as opposed to, like here specifically. But that's a good question, and thank you for answering. Sorry if that answer is a little bit unsatisfactory. But unfortunately, it's what we got. So if anybody has a more developed thought about that, feel free to share that in the chat as well. I don't know why I just didn't kick that open. Holy crap, teleported. Not really, but that's what it felt like. I don't remember if this wyvern wakes up and breathes fire. I have a feeling it does. Come on, I ran out of stamina. There we go. Worth. Maybe not. Oh, no, 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 no. Okay. 2 large Titanite shards, so that should be enough to level this thing up. We get the lightning spear, which is really cool. Oh yeah, I forgot to look at the items. I tend to do that. It's really easy to get distracted and then go off on different tangents. So okay, we'll look at the soul of the stray demon, the dragon crest shield, and I guess the great axe as well, although it's not super important, I don't think. And I'll try to catch up on chat and not lose my train of thought. standard bolts, and a raw gem. Okay, so that's pretty much it for this area, if I remember correctly. Go ahead over here and just show that this is the other side of the map where we first found Yol. So that's where all those pilgrims were. That's where that like upended carriage was. And so this just does connect to where we were from earlier. Yeah. Let's go look at the chat. Giacomo says we can just ignore it, pretend the bearer of the curse traveled a long way. And Mortis says it depends on the interpretation you guess. Gabriel says the ring says that Havel Knights wear it, doesn't it? I don't remember the English. Part of the issue is in Japanese, singular and plural isn't always clear. So sometimes it can be read either way, and you just kind of either have to rely on getting more information from a developer or project partner to kind of figure that stuff out, or otherwise you just have to make a call and hope for the best and hope it works out. Sometimes it doesn't always work out, but it isn't necessarily like the translator's fault. It's just like not having enough information, unfortunately. King Jeremiah says, one interpretation claims that the Dragon Slayer armor was Havel's original armor. Interesting. I don't know how I feel about that one specifically. It seems a little bit more dubious to me. Ramus says, Havel had followers. His ring in Dark Souls 1 says his followers wore it, which makes you think that the people try to mimic him. But since the armor is so iconic, it is possible that he became historically one person. And that's another fair point. We do see cases in Dark Souls where myths and legend kind of transcend the figure that they are originally attached to. I think it was the hunting goddess of Lana was originally a person, I think, in Dark Souls 1, and then by Dark Souls 2 she was revered as a deity. And I think that kind of faith actually made her become a deity. It's a little bit unclear, and I know that's a bit of a contentious subject. My mistake if I do forget which goddess that was, but yeah. I do know that there are those kind of instances as well. Victorious FIG, welcome back to the stream. You said, hello, you're working currently, but you'll try to say something relevant now and again. Thank you, I appreciate it. Hope you're all having a good day at work if you're joining in from there. Venom says, nothing personal, kid. Instead of personnel, I suppose. El Augusto, welcome to the stream. You said, Ether Wyvern. George Clowney, I love that name. Welcome to the stream. You said, why is the stray demon up there? That's a very good question. I don't think there's a good answer. Maybe it's supposed to be a kind of tie to the Taurus demon that was on top of the wall in Dark Souls 1. Without any explanation. They do kind of wander around from time to time. I think, wasn't the Crestfallen Knight, who's Logan's apprentice's name? I can't think of it right now. I think he mentions that, like, demons wander around from time to time, and, like, the Capra demon set up his territory in the undead settlement. So, I guess that happens, and I would assume that'd be more rare in Dark Souls 3 when demons are more rare. So, yeah. No idea about the stray demon. Maybe his soul will say something, although I don't think it does. We'll pull that up now. And Davin says, Archdragon Peak is the hardest thing to find lore on, you feel. Had you noticed there's a bunch of scaffolding, especially towards the entrance of the level? I don't remember the scaffolding, but yeah. I'll keep my eye out for sure. Jeremiah says, the demon guarded the gates to Lothric. Okay. Davin says, maybe efforts to rebuild after some battle or just clumsy dragon stepping on everything. Oh, with the scaffolding? Yeah, that's interesting. And George says, didn't Lothric kill demons? I would assume so, but it's a little bit hard to say. Maybe a certain item will clear that up for us later on. If anybody knows, please feel free to share that info in the chat. Eric Gondo says, Havel for you is an individual who is a god. When you find someone with the armor, they are his followers. They are his followers, the warriors of Havel. The NPC we killed in Dark Souls 1 is also called internally Havel Warrior. Okay, so it's Ferris. Okay, that god, or goddess. So, originally a person who ended up becoming god in Dark Souls 2. Jeremiah says, yes, but Lothric likely took slaves in the form of demons similar to what Gwyn did. It's possible. And Mortis says, yeah, you think they did. You know that Prince Lorien defeated the demon prince, causing his sword to be infused in flame. Indeed. Professor Gomez, welcome back to the stream. It's nice to see you again. El Augusto says, Laurent, I think, was Logan's dude. Oh, Laurent, okay. Or Laurentius, something like that. A lot of the NPC names kind of blur together for me after a certain point. And Wenders, welcome back to the stream. It's nice to see you again as always. Professor Gomez says, what is the timeline between Dark Souls and Dark Souls 3? That's really hard to say. Presumably a couple millennia. That's kind of the feel that I've gotten. I don't know how long it's been, but it seems to have been ages. Enough so for the cycle of the fire to have been done repeatedly since the times of Dark Souls 1. And it is a little bit vague how much time it takes in between the cycles of the fire before it needs to be linked again. But presumably it's been so long at this point, they've run out of people to keep relinking it, which is why a piece of ash is the one to do it in this game. So Laurentius was the pyromancer. Griggs was Logan's guy. Okay, yeah. So El Gusto says, Lothric's warrior prince killed the demon's champion, you think? So you guess they crusaded against them. So George Clowney says, okay, off topic, but you gotta know, are the Silver and Black Knights gods? So that's a bit contentious. I think technically we could say that they're like godkin, so they seem to be related to the gods and not men at least. But if you want to make a more of a distinction between like the Gwyn level of god and Gwendolyn versus like the Silver Knights and Black Knights, I think that's also fair to do. So yeah, I do wish that they were a little bit careful at defining races or making the lines between them a bit more clear. Because to me, it's also a bit curious as to whether a god is really any different from a human, other than that they might have more power from souls or more affinity with souls as opposed to like Dark Souls. I know that there's the line that Elizabeth mentions in Dark Souls 1 where it says, Artorias hath nary something about dark, so he has nary a spark of dark, something like that. But as far as the Japanese goes, I think the line is supposed to be closer to Artorias was unable to withstand the dark, and so that's why he fell. I can see arguments for both interpretations going either way. I think that the way that I read it is closer to what I think the developers had in mind, but it's a little bit hard to say, and disagreement with me on that point is fine as well. You're welcome, Professor. And Victoria says, possible that the person we killed in Dark Souls 1 is Havel themselves, but people emulated their armor, weaponry, and accessories. As one of Gwyn's knights, they would have been quite famous. And yeah, he was supposed to be, or maybe not him, but perhaps the region were supposed to be allied in battle with Gwyn. So yeah, it's a bit weird. And I think there's also been some theories that Havel himself could have been a giant. I don't know how I feel about that. But of course, we do know that Havel, or the people of Havel, hated Seath and magic, which is a bit weird. I guess they might have relied more on faith and miracles, because they did have bishops, I guess. But yeah, we'll see more about that. Maybe not in this game. But yeah, I'm sure the topic will come up more again. Isaac Gonzalez says, hiya, El Protag. Dude, you got canned on your job on Friday, so you haven't checked in, but you're still lurking and still totally in love with the streams. Thank you for being here during a rough time for you. Yeah, man, I hope you, get everything that you need together. Hopefully, this will end up becoming an opportunity for you to get something better in your life. So yeah, good luck out there, man. Keep your chin up. Yeah. And I'm glad that I'm able to provide some support for you here, even if it's pretty meager. So good luck out there. El Gusto says, Dark Souls 2 makes it seem like insane millennia took place since Dark Souls 1, but Dark Souls 3 seems like it's only a couple millennia. Alright, so I'm going to read a couple more, otherwise I feel like at this point we're just going to get lost in chat, and then, I just need to proceed a little bit more with the gameplay. Not that I don't appreciate all of this chat scroll. So Ramus says, you believe there's a strong implication that godhood was merely a title, but they amounted for more souls. Maybe. Nary a murmur. Okay, so that's what it was. Thank you, Venom. And George Clowney says, what made King Vendrick so big then? Was he godkin? If we take the imagery present in the first Ornstein and Smo fight to be prevalent, perhaps absorbing more souls can make somebody become larger. Obviously, that doesn't really work for the player, but there is a little bit of kind of ways to extrapolate that information, I suppose. So Winder says size is very inconsistent in Dark Souls. You wouldn't take it into account too much. Yeah, that's a good point. So I will try to pause the chat for now, at least on my end. So if I do miss some of your guys' comments, I apologize ahead of time. Try to repeat it. Or you could always like do the super chat sticky thing for a little bit of extra visibility, but you guys definitely don't have to. Alright, so this is the soul of a stray demon. It's one of the twisted souls steeped in strength. Used to acquire numerous souls or transposed to extract its true strength. The stray demon, now lacking even a trace of flame, was once the gatekeeper of Lothric. Okay, so this does set up that the stray demon is related to Lothric. He seems to be employed by them. I guess employed is probably a weird way to phrase it. But yeah, he's definitely connected to Lothric. How they managed to tame the demons is something I have no real thoughts on whatsoever. But yeah. Maybe they just fed it souls, but maybe I just took up residence there and they just kind of went with it. I'm not sure. I think I need to drop down from the top, don't I? Okay. So yeah, as I mentioned earlier, that's where all the pilgrims were, and so we are by the high wall from much earlier in the game. I think there's a lever here, isn't there? No. So we get another pilgrim. No levers. That's unfortunate. So yeah, I think I have died here before on like one of my other playthroughs where I just didn't have enough to heal up and then I had to drop down from here. I guess if I attuned like the spook magic, I could have used it. Oop. I guess the falls weren't as bad as I thought. Okay. Maybe I am just misremembering. Not the end of the world. I think I'll go down to the bonfire and then teleport to the other Farron one just so I can look at chat a little bit in between that time over there. So, El Augusto says, old theories had people consider the gods giants. You called the godlike dudes just lords. And so yeah, that's another thing that's a bit weird. Like in Dark Souls 2, they call lords kings. They essentially just use the same kanji in both games, and the idea of lord and king is somewhat interchangeable between, in Japanese rather. So I guess, yeah, I don't know. Just keep in mind that I guess the kings in Dark Souls 2 are just akin to lords, which is pretty obvious, I think, all things considered. So Merc says, you like that in Dark Souls, eating people makes you bigger. Victoria says, you always assumed Gwyn and his direct descendants were gods. The folks he gave the pieces of his soul to would become sort of demigods, and the folks who received the shattered dark soul became human. I think that's a fair reading for sure. Instead, Wender says you can attain the title of god through history and worship as evidenced by Olvana Eberana in Dark Souls 2, and to a lesser extent in the Crescent Axe also. Oh yeah, and so the other items. I'm forgetting what I even picked up at this point. It was just a great axe. That's not too important. So, if one possesses the inhuman strength required to lift this weapon, the great heft of its attacks will send foes flying. However, since every swing makes use of one's entire body, attacks leave the wielder wide open to retaliation. It's pretty straightforward. And... oh, okay. I do remember. Almost missing out on the Sunlight Spear, which is definitely one of my favorites. Lightning Spear. Okay. So this is a miracle allegedly used by warriors of sunlight. Hurls a lightning spear. The spears inflict lightning damage, providing an effective counter to magic or fire, especially powerful against metal armor and dragons. So, I don't have the picture on me, but if you do look at the image, like on this miracle? Sorcery? Yeah, it is a miracle. Can't read. You will see, I believe, like a picture of Gwyn and Gwendolyn and Guinevere, like on the right, surrounded by like peoples on the left. So it's kind of cool. I do know that somebody has like gone through and like reoriented and expanded the size of the image to just kind of show what's on it as well. I think Rubito, although he's not in the stream, I know that he has it on his server and stuff. So it is kind of cool that they do go through the extra level of detail to include stuff like that in their items sometimes. So Ramus says, I need some water, brah. You're not wrong. 100%. And I'll probably drink some too. I guess I have been streaming for over an hour. I was thinking maybe a bit more in general. I should probably incorporate a little bit more breaks in the stream. Partially for myself, but also just for you guys to get the chance to like use the restroom or get some water for yourselves. So I think, I don't know, I'm stubborn and like to go forward. So yeah, I'll grab some water right now and then probably go, yeah, let's just go for like a quick 2 or 3 minute break because it's probably necessary for some of us. So yeah, I'll be right back in a moment, and thank you for looking out for me, and we'll see each other very shortly. Alright, we're back with some water, and we got the puppy under the blanket, so she'll be happy now as well. So, alright, let's check out the chat for a second. So, Eduardo Monteblanco, welcome back to the stream. He said, hello, how's the stream going? Are you winning, son? Yes and no. We are winning a bit more lore footage, although I did screw up by not recording at first. So yeah, definitely having a good time checking out some more of the lore. A lot of good chats going on right now. Vanya says you heard that some giants, like the Judicated giants, came from the Age of the Ancients. Interesting. I don't know about that personally. So hopefully we'll find a bit more of that, especially when we look at like Adjudicator Argo in the DLC. But yeah, giants are a different race altogether, and it does seem like the giants are related to humans potentially. Their souls are kind of reminiscent of that. I think that's a strong possibility. We get another crab over here. It's a little bit harder to maneuver this time around. I don't remember what that crashing is. I almost think it's the giant, although I'm pretty sure that was only for like the Cathedral of the Deep. I got grabbed. Rolled poorly. I assume it's the giant because It's right next to the birch tree. Yeah, okay, it's the giant spears. So he'll help the player out to get close. We'll try to kite the crab to it. Rip. So the lingering dragon crest ring. So that's one of the good reasons for trying to talk to the giant before coming to this area, obviously, because he will shoot some of the enemies to the player after you befriend him. So we just got Dusk's crown, and I'll try to look at that in a moment. Oh, I remember, we also got the dragon shield, which I didn't read. As well as the slumbering dragon ring just now. Try to follow the wall. Keep that on the right. Good layout of the area. Finally, some more solid land, or stable land. Okay, got a decent amount of health. And I do want to kill these immediately, but I'm going to look at chat real quick. So Mortis says, so if Kyojin is the name you believe, it means the big giants as a race you believe. And yes. Victoria says, the furtive pygmy, you always assumed they were called pygmy because they were basically a little giant, and furtive for hiding the dark soul. The PC is small because they're a little giant, and the gods are larger because they're regular sized giants. Yeah, it's a bit weird. With the symbol of avarice in like Dark Souls 3 at least, it does specify that the mimics came from gods. So there does seem to actually be some race differences between all of the creatures of Dark Souls, but it's a little bit annoying to try to like really figure out where the lines go between them. El Gusto says, you're curious what Nito exhausted his Lord Soul on since he was supposed to have spent it on death. Maybe he was changed the world by making spirits a thing. It seems like maybe him reanimating things is what was related to death, or just death in general. Because I guess death might not have existed before the disparity came, before the time of the dragon. So yeah, Nito is definitely one of those lower black holes, which is super interesting, but there's super little about. And I guess the Finito in Dark Souls 2 might be more related to it, but I don't know enough about that to really comment about it, unfortunately. And Xanthus says, is Allfather Lloyd a relative to Gwyn? At least in the Japanese, I believe Allfather Lloyd is described as Gwyn's uncle, older uncle, which is really interesting because that shows that there were at least families before the advent of the Lord Souls. So yeah, take that as you will, I suppose. Gabriel says the problem is also with the name Giants. For example, the Giants weren't just necessarily big, just powerful, but Giants was the best translation. Yeah, for Kyojin, I mean, I guess you could also go with Titan, because like Shingeki no Kyojin is like Attack on Titan, but yeah. LP is a Farron watchdog in real life, submitting dank grass to his puppy. Victoria says, here's one that will bake your noodle. Is Gwyn the name of the creature that found the Lord Soul, or is Gwyn the soul itself exerting its will on a willing vessel? Or even an unwilling one, knowing Gwyn's MO? That's an interesting way to look at things as well. What Lord Soul did the crab get? It got the Lord Soul of Death by Spear. The Lord Soul of attracting spears. Spear magnetism. Jeremiah says, taking the Gwyn and Zeus comparison into account, you wonder if he was the last to find his Lord Soul due to Zeus being the youngest out of his brothers. It also makes you wonder if Nito found his first. It almost, like the way that the story presents it, it seems like Gwyn found it because he has the most control, but with the Zeus parallels as an example, I think you bring up a good point as well. So I'll read Vanya's statement last, and then I'll continue. Regarding their statement about Giants, you read that when FromSoft was releasing pics for Ring City on their Twitter account, and it said Adjudicator Giant from Age of Ancients. Interesting. Well, I guess the Ring City might be considered the Age of Ancients for them, at least. Maybe not like the Grey Crag one of like Dark Souls 1, but just relatively speaking of like the Lothric timeline. a little bit. Oh, I whiffed. Yes, I didn't have stamina. Should probably heal. Oh, yep. So we get a Sage's Scroll, which will be good for Orbeck. And we do find a lot more of the kind of mushroom people that were in the Darkroot Basin, or Darkroot Garden in Dark Souls 1. So just more connections into that time period. Yeah. Oh, and of course all the shields and stuff. So I'll go ahead and read that now. So this is the scroll containing sorceries of the Crystal Sages. Give to a sorcerer to learn sorceries of the Sages. As any sorcerer knows, sorcery is a talent, and these sorceries were refined to nurture a very special talent. So I guess that does tie into what Orbeck was saying, that like you're either talented with being able to learn sorceries or you're not. So maybe being able to increase your intelligence is a bit of a rarity in these in this world, at least. I don't know. Kind of hard to say. And then the cool shield. And then the ring. So the Dragon Crest Shield is a knight shield engraved with a crest depicting a dragon. One of the enchanted blue shields, the Dragon Crest Shield greatly reduces fire damage. I'm probably going to equip this because I think it's good from what I remember. Gets me right at 70. Yeah, and so much better stats. 9. Yeah, 89% reduction in fire damage. It's extremely strong. I think I used this one and another crest shield just in general as my like go-to shields. And then the ring. So this is the Lingering Dragon Crest Ring. It extends the length of the spell effects. It's a special ring given to those who are deemed fit to undertake the journey of discovery in Vinheim, home of sorcery. Extends length of spell effect. Apropos to the Dragon School, the seal depicts an everlasting dragon. The Lingering Dragon symbolizes the nature of the consummate sorcerer. So when I talked on the last stream about the twin faces of the dragon, I said that they were like the twin aspects of the dragon, and that does get related to these rings. So the Lingering Dragon Crest ring is one of the aspects that I mentioned of like a dragon in weight, and the other one I don't remember off the top of my head, but it's more like when the dragon is raging and striking. Might be like bellowing or something like that. So I think that was it for the items. Oh, and then the Dust Crown, of course. I don't think it says anything too different. Oh, no, it does. Okay. So this is the Crown of Dusk. Feathered crown bestowed upon the Princess of Ulasil, land of ancient golden sorceries. Through the Guardian Elizabeth's blessing, this raises the power and effect of the wearer's magic, but damage suffered by magic attacks rises in tandem. So this does bring up Elizabeth again. And yeah, pretty straightforward, and of course, just another connection to Ulasil in this area. Bloodborne is the painted world, brah. I disagree. So Wender says, you think that Nito was the first to die, made clear in the Japanese apparently, and inherited his Soul of Lords later on. So if I remember correctly, Nito is described as like the first of the dead, like Shisha dead, if I remember correctly, whereas like all of the undead use a different style of dead to describe them. So Nito does seem to be different from like the undead, which I'm sure that's not what Wenders was saying anyway. Just kind of want to clarify that. So it's weird to me to have that concept of a dead thing that's still animate, but Nito does it somehow, I guess. So El Augusto says, you're most curious about the providence of those immortal god cats like Alvina and Sweet Shalkuyar, I'm going to assume. Maybe like the Shinto idea, century plus animals will become gods. So yeah, that's a decent take on it, I think. Maybe some of the cats also have a decent amount of humanity themselves. And as I've mentioned before on one of the earlier streams, humanity doesn't mean humanity. It's more like human quality or human nature, I guess. So the more human qualities that something has, perhaps it takes on more human appearances. And so that might be why rats and things are more able to speak, at least in Dark Souls 2, or have covenants with them. So I guess maybe one could argue that to a certain extent, maybe the rats are more human than humans in these games, more human than men. It's a little bit hard to talk about that kind of stuff sometimes, just because of how strongly they're kind of synonyms for each other. So I don't think there's a way up here just yet, but there's going to be a really important item over here. Poison gem. I guess not terribly important. But I didn't know that I wanted to YOLO. So there's the bonfire, and then there's going to be like a patrolling group somewhere. Oh, that one was straight up over there. Oh, I should have remembered. Ooh, I'm in a bad spot. That was a lucky roll. But we'll take it. Oh, a black bow of Ferris. Oh, is that an auto drop? Okay, maybe I need to kill the other one too. So those ones have much wilder attacks. What's my HP and stuff at? 915. Okay, and 2 Estus left. Okay, we'll deal with the group for now. And then I'll try to. Sorry guys, it's a little bit hard to balance the chat and the gameplay, but I'll try. But not like that. Try to kite one more towards the fire again. Stuck. Really hard managing all those little ads. Whiff. Go. Ferris's hat. So the last one I should be able to just deal with straight up. And watch me die. So I'll read the bow and the hat for now, and then catch up with chat, and then try to go for the last one. So the Black Bow of Ferris is a black longbow named after a hero of old, known for the unusual stance from which it is fired. Wow, can't read. Has a longer range than standard bows, but a successful usage requires a trained dexterous hand. Check out the hat. So this is a broad-brimmed leather hat, traditionally used by master archers and especially favored by forest-dwelling hunters. The name Ferris is said to have once belonged to a hero, but it is now known more widely as a style of hat. So that's another way where legends of old can get transformed. You don't necessarily have to become a legendary figure or even a god. You can just end up as the name of a hat. Oof. So I think I'm out of everything, so hopefully we don't die, but I think it connects back up to the bridge next to the bonfire. So if I die, hopefully it's not going to be that big a deal. I'll probably go back to the Firelink Shrine just to get a few more of the mosses. Okay, I'm out. So I need to YOLO. Cool. Let's try to do this real quick. Extinguish the flame. So this one is covered in more skulls than like the kind of family style portrait of the other one. Ooh, there's a lot to catch up on. So I need to run back as soon as I can. There's a ticking. So, you know, just... Oh, okay, that works. Now I can catch up on chat a little bit. So, Clowny asks, where did the lords come from, though? We don't know. So, presumably, one could argue that the first flame appeared, and then from it, other forms of life started to appear, and then eventually the hollow-type figures that became the gods appeared, and they're what found the Lord Souls. But that's more or less just speculation. But yeah. Victoria says, consider the dragon's unchanging age as part of the cycle, just another part of gods, men, and dragons taking their turns to rule as nature intended. Considering the cycle of god, man, and dragon, we can then say that this entire game's lore is not an origin of anything, but just another link in a grand chain. Gwyn himself may have lived billions of years ago and persists through his soul. And yeah, okay. Yeah, I think that's also a fair take, and especially more of like a Buddhist one, where maybe a bit more Hinduist with like what was not Indra, Krishna, where Krishna will like dream up reality, and then he'll wake up and then go back to sleep and dream it all over again, and he'll have his parts as characters in that reality. So it's just like a play set on a stage that gets repeated over and over and over. So I do think that's what's strongly implied in the games like Dark Souls 1 and 3 especially. Clowny says, why do they hate it then? Without the flame, won't time stop again? You thought that the fire made time? Well, yes and no. Part of the issue is like a lot of the characters don't know about the nature of their own reality. Just as like we in real life don't know what came before the Big Bang or what'll happen after the heat death of the universe. There may be more, but we just don't know any better. And it's kind of impossible for us to really speculate without like more mystic or insightful information, I guess. I don't want to go too far down that rabbit hole, though. So yeah, I think characters like Gwyn and a lot of the characters in like Bloodborne, like Master Willem and Lawrence, they're kind of products of their own failures at understanding the world, I guess. So Mortis says, you don't think it was made clear, but it was implied. You could be right, but you're just saying no off a gut feeling, which is dumb on your part. Oh, I think I'm missing that context. So Xanthus King Jeremiah says Dark Souls 2 edition of the Rat King was ridiculous. I don't disagree, but I just kind of got to roll with the punches. El Degusto says you can see the Ash Lake trees as posts in Bloodborne in the Hunter's Dream Vista. I disagree with that. I know like a lot of people want to attach Bloodborne to the others games as well as like Demon Souls. I just kind of have to take the devs at their words to say that they weren't meant to be connected, and that maybe a lot of the things are more like Easter eggs than any like explicit confirmations. But to be fair, there are some like licensing issues, so maybe they are connected, but they just can't explicitly say so due to more legal reasons. I personally like to treat each game separately because I feel like by doing so you can get a bit more meaning out of each one, or put more of your own perspective on each one, rather than kind of being forced to fit a certain kind of narrative. But that's just me. So Victorious FIG says, you assumed that the rats had humanity because they ate humans? That's a possibility. Like that one fella who ate all those folks being used to kindle because he had consumed so much humanity. That's another possibility for sure. El Degusto says, their take is that the rats ate enough human corpses that they absorbed humanity from them, and that is why killing them gives humanity. Yarnum is ages past Boletaria. That's another interpretation that people make. And so George says the painted world and the Dark Souls 3 was painted in blood. What does that even mean? What is the blood of a soul? Does like Gwyn's soul bleed? So I talked about this on a previous stream where for like some portions of like Chinese medicine and like mysticism, you can see that the soul is related to the liver, and I guess that's related to blood or like the pericardium. And so with the liver controlling like the flow of, maybe I said that wrong. Anyway, I'll restart. So in certain ideas of like Chinese medicine, the liver houses the soul, and I guess blood passes through there, other than like the kidneys. And so with the liver being like the organ associated with souls and whatnot, that might be where the souls get, or where blood gets imbued with souls, and that's what gives you like energy throughout your body, because all of the energy like travels through your innards and maybe your liver in that kind of belief. Sorry if I'm being a bit redundant. I don't know it super well off the top of my head, but that's just some of the thoughts that I've had. Because at least in like the earlier versions of Bloodborne, rather than having what's it called, the cold bloods, they use like living livers to represent like the boss souls instead. Yeah. Guess she's out of the purple moss clumps. Maybe Grey Rat will have some. And then I need to give her the ash as well. And then probably level up.
Oh, he'll land in one piece.
No. So I guess I'm screwed. A little bit. I just, need to get good. Alright, so that's not too bad, I guess. I don't even really want to buy anything.
Goodbye.
I'll just level up a little bit and go talk to the Shrine Handmaiden.
Welcome, host. Very well then taken.
Maybe I should level up a bit more dex, but no. Let's just go Mongo build, Chongo build.
Farewell, Lammy.
Catch up on chat. So that should be good. So Wender says, blood is mentioned in the soul of the Great Wolf and the Wolf Knight armor, as well as other items related to it. Also, to everything related to Nar Alma and Dark Souls 2, among other things like Dark Souls 3's poison knives, etc. Ramus says, you think all the pyres have a different engraving, one of them is even a dragon. Okay, I'll look for that. Risan says, unique qualities of blood might be something unique to humans and pygmies in Dark Souls, / the undead. That's fair as well. And then George says, plus blood echoes have the same effect as souls. Yeah, for the most part. Although it does get a bit grating to say, oh, I lost my souls or my echoes in the wrong games. I mean, essentially they are kind of treated the same by both, and they're both kind of related to the same concept overall, just kind of executed a little bit differently. So Mortiz says, Bloodborne and Dark Souls are separate universes. I agree with that just because that's what the devs say. And I missed. So Kasky Nightblade says, you're looking forward to an Age of the Deep Sea video, also the Profaned Flame. I will bring that up when I do talk about stagnation somewhat. But yeah, that's kind of part of the reason why I am going through like the Dark Souls stuff as well. And so El Gusto says, becoming dragons seemed like achieving Nirvana Moksha for freeing yourself from the cycle. Hollows and giants become trees that grow into arc trees. Right. And so I think at this point, just with as much as we are to like discussing like Buddhism and Eastern philosophy in general, maybe it might be smart to make a video about that a little bit more. It'd probably be really tricky to do. I don't know if other content creators have done something like that. I would kind of assume so at this point, but yeah, I should definitely look into that more later. Because you don't really need to get into the nitty gritty of like the details of that to kind of talk about Dark Souls, but it could be a very good like thematic video, perhaps. So Victorious FIG says, you agree with that? The dragons definitely represent freedom from the cycle. The flame references the universal consciousness deciding to create reality and then panicking when it fades. Professor Gomez says, Bloodborne is a complete separate game. Even Demon Souls lore is separated from Dark Souls and Dark Souls lore. That's your opinion. And yeah, these are kind of all of our opinions, so that's a good thing to keep in mind. Even if we disagree with you personally, you're perfectly fine to have your personal beliefs. I think there's a difference between like what even like the author says of their own story versus what the audience can perceive from it. So even if the author doesn't intend for something to be read a certain way, that doesn't mean we as individuals can't gain meaning from it or appreciate it differently than the author intended. So that's a bit more meta, I suppose, but yeah. Feel empowered with your own choices about how you interact with the stories or the kinds of media that you enjoy, and don't let other people take that away from you, even if there are disagreements. Just keep it civil and treat everybody with respect, which you guys have been doing, and I totally appreciate, and I love you guys as a community for that. So yeah. El Gusto says, originally Bloodborne was Demon Souls 2. Data miners found that name buried in the game. For licensing, they changed it somewhere in the cycle. And so if that is true, I haven't seen that myself. One thing that people like to point to is a lot of interviews between the developers for insights about the way that some of these games are developed. And so from some of the interviews with like Miyazaki and Yamagiwa, they've said it was never Demon Souls 2. So there is a certain amount of marketing with some of their interviews to keep in mind. So even if they do come from like the developers themselves, I would also say like keep some of the things that they say with a grain of salt and a little bit of skepticism, just because it is in their best interests to like promote their games and hype it up as a new thing as well. So yeah. Risan says, yeah, Gascoigne said in Bassa in the Cut Alpha dialogue, perhaps as a foreigner, the land he came from was Boletaria, but you prefer keeping the game separate lore-wise. It could have just been an Easter egg. Like, some of the Chalice Dungeon armor sets seem to be reminiscent of Demon Souls designs, and I think, like, Martyr Logarius' sword is related to, like, the Soul Brant in Demon Souls, but I don't know too much other than that. Venom says, the Fires of Farron have reliefs of each of the big Dark Souls bosses. There was a fourth planned for Seath, but it was cut in development. Oh, really? That's super unfortunate. You can actually still see it if you look down from the bridge. Okay. Rufio, welcome back to the stream. He said, hey guys and gals, popping in, gonna go make some food. Sorry you're late, was spending some time with your brother. Oh, dude, don't apologize. Like, family always comes first. Try to take care of the people around you to the best you can. For sure. I appreciate you stopping in, nonetheless. Even though you're probably already gone now. So, Victorious FIG says, oh, absolutely. You don't think the game is even meant to have an established lore? That's what makes it so intriguing. You just think the links between the games are cool? Being part of the Dragon Covenant seems to be like a path to the Buddha, or transforming into a dragon after mastering it is like becoming an Arhat. Yeah. Arhats are really cool too. I'm glad you brought that up. I mean, I probably won't explain them just because I don't want to do it injustice, but yeah, for people interested in that kind of thing, definitely check it out. There's some super cool Japanese art of Arhats as well. So yeah, love y'all, stay blessed. We love you, LP. It's cool, George. Thank you, Bridge. It's nice to see you. You've been a little bit quiet today. You might be busy. That's perfectly fine. And love to everyone in the community. Thank you. Rufio says you'll be keeping this one while you cook, just won't be able to interact with the chat. Okay, that's cool. George Clowney says, is cut content canon? Ooh, that's a really, really good question. A hard one to answer as well. I think to a certain extent, the answer is both yes and no. Yes, in that certain aspects of cut content can inform our understandings of why things are the way that they are in the final build of the game. So, for Bloodborne, for example, we go to the Hunter's Dream at the end of the game and see that it's on fire. We don't know who set it on fire or why it's on fire. However, in the cut content of the game, Gehrman says that like he set it on fire to signal like the end of the hunt. With that in mind, I think that's a perfectly valid explanation of why the Hunter's Dream is on fire in the retail build of the game, even if it's never explicitly stated to be so. On the other hand, there are certain other pieces of cut content which I don't think really flow with the established lore of their respective games, and so I do tend to treat some of it more like an oddity or a curio, not anything to be taken too seriously, but it's interesting to consider nonetheless. So ultimately, I think the idea of cut canon or cut content being canon is somewhat left up to individual preference, but because of that, it's hard to talk about, just because people might take one thing to be more valid than something else. That doesn't necessarily mean that anybody is incorrect in their beliefs, though. Okay, so talk to the Shrine Handmaiden now that we're finally caught up. Mbasa, Nightingale, welcome to the stream. Nice to see you again.
Ah, well met, Ashen One. How may I be of service? Ashen One, if my wares are not to thy satisfaction, bring me umbral ash. With ash, I'll fashion new wares. Is it not our sorry fate to sup on death? Ashen One, what woeful umbral ash is this? This barren dust, stuff of a fool, won't yield aught. Where didst thou happen upon the stuff? Tell me for the sport. Oh yes, I see. Clinging to lofty dreams in this dying world, more's the pity. It must come from one most foolish indeed. Wouldst thou not agree?
So I mentioned before that I do think there is a bit more significance to the Dream Chaser's ashes. I think that person must have had a more personal connection to the Handmaiden, just because her reaction here, although it is reserved, it is a lot more different in the overall tone compared to much of the other ashes that we've found so far. Well, maybe now we can get some more? Nope. Wishful thinking. So yeah, I'm not worried about too much else that she has to offer right now. Oh, maybe a different ring. I don't remember if these stack. I don't think so. I'm not going to worry about that.
Ashen One,
Okay.
might bring me.
So that's that for now. We're going to go back to the swamp and clear that out, and then start to head towards the Abyss Walkers. George Clowney, thank you for the 5. I appreciate that. Love the streams. It's been nice having you here and your contribution to the discussions, for sure. So Bridge is a bit busy with a bit of work, but you are listening intently. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's understandable as well. El Gusto says you should do a guest episode with Sinclair Lore. You want to hear me talk with Richard Pilbeam. Richard is a very smart individual. I do respect a lot of his takes. I think we have a few disagreements, which is perfectly fine. I'm not against the stream or podcast or whatever. I'm stuck. I should have played this a bit better. Yeah, okay. That was really bad. So yeah, with Sinclair Lore, yeah, I don't have any disagreements with them. As far as like streaming or having a podcast with them, I tend to like to stay a little bit focused at times. So I don't know how that dynamic would work between the three of us, but I mean, I'd be willing to give it a try. There we go. The Gru Rot Shield. It's going to be kind of cool. I think I already picked it up. Yeah, okay. Maybe I didn't. I'm pretty sure I picked up. Okay. What am I doing? So this is a rotting makeshift shield scavenged by the forest-dwelling Grus. Barely effective as a shield, however its rotten state has made it poisonous and resistant to other poisons as a result. So yeah, it'll be a bit more poison resistant, although I don't really think that matters so much with the shields. Yeah, you don't really see poison on here. But other than that, its physical, or its overall resistance isn't too stellar. So I'm not going to use that. So the merchant has unique dialogue. If you first talk to her in Untended Graves, then talk to her in Firelink Shrine. We might be able to show that off in a later, much later episode. I might be able to do that more in like New Game Plus, just like go through Fight Dancer and then Osiris real quick. Yeah, I probably would want to do that for the footage as well, so thanks for bringing that up. And so, normalize laughing ominously in casual conversation. Venom says, please no Sinclair lore. I mean, I think it'd be good to connect communities a bit. I don't necessarily feel the need to go out of the way, but if I was offered, I would definitely consider it, for sure. Like, they're both good people. I should probably try to get grabbed by one of those sometimes, because it's cool. I haven't done it yet, I don't think. Or it could just happen naturally. There's some more Titanite shards, and then there will be some more Prowling Grue. No. Gotta get there fast. Wait, no poison yet. We get the Great Sword, the Gut Sword finally, if I remember correctly. Holy crap, that's super heavy. So this Ultra Greatsword with its thick blade is one of the heaviest of its kind, highly destructive if intolerably heavy. There would appear to be some credence to the rumors that this sword tested the true limits of human strength. I will upgrade it a bit and give it a whirl and see what kind of armor I can equip or not at all while using it. But now I'm poisoned. More shards, which is what I need for the gold greatsword. Thought I was gonna whiff it first. So that's where the Estus Soup is, so that gives us a pretty good layout of where we are now. Oh yeah, I forget you have to go around this tree. That's my real complaint about the level design in this area. You have to go around the one tree. Nope, binoculars of course. Better now than later. Okay. Oh, some more moss, which is perfect. Brisant says, yeah, visiting Untended Graves before speaking with her in the Firelink Shrine implies the Untended Graves are in the past. If you're calling her dialogue correctly, she talks about you being familiar, if you remember correctly. Yeah, so I don't necessarily think it's the past. I do think that they're probably like convergent timelines, but that'll probably be a bit more of a better topic for when we actually get to it. So... XX, welcome to the stream. Or should I just call you Dos Equis? I don't know. You said you think Richie disagrees on some translation stuff, but you seem to be in the right in your opinion. Thank you, I appreciate that. As far as like Richie goes, I think he might take the cut content a bit more strongly than I do, which is kind of tied to that discussion that we had just like a moment ago about like, is cut content canon? I think he may have wanted like Bloodborne to be a bit different than it was in the final version, which is perfectly fine. So for me personally, the vibe that I get from him, I just wish he might have been able to enjoy the final build of Bloodborne a bit more than he has so far. So that's where we just came from earlier. And there might be treasure over along that wall, but I'm sorry, that's pretty bad instructions, or directions rather. But I think you guys who've been here know what I was talking about. Some rotten pine resin, and then we get another Grue. I'm surprised that wasn't a backstab. I think, can we shoot this? Maybe. This one's got a kind of cool dagger. Extinguish 3 flames and open the door to the wolf's blood. So it's a little bit funny that we find this note now, considering we just went through the area entirely backwards. So let's try to look at this a little bit closely. So yeah, this does kind of look like the Witch of Izalith now that you guys pointed out. Maybe before she transformed into the bed of fire? Or chaos, rather. So yeah. So Nightingale says, did I see Princess Dusk already? Or you mean her set over by like Elizabeth? Yes, we already got all that. Lucarino Gordon Areno. Holy crap, that's a mouthful. Welcome to the stream. You said, man, you hate this area. I seem to be like the only one who doesn't seem to mind the swamp for whatever reason. I don't know, it's got a very different vibe from the other swamps so far. I definitely prefer this over Blighttown, where you've got the annoying little mosquito bastards stabbing you and spitting on you. So yeah, now we've opened the door, obviously, and we see a sword-lined path leading forward to where the Abyss Walkers will be. Let me equip a bow real quick. I'm pretty sure it doesn't matter, but can't let sleeping dogs lie. That was not meant to be a Farron Legion pun, but I guess it is. Nope, doesn't do anything. So Fig says, you need to figure out how to co-op with specific people in Bloodborne. You played your first playthrough solo and you're thinking some help in New Game Plus should be fun. You'll mention it in the Discord later. Yeah, so just use the password. People on the Discord will help set you up for sure. And so yeah, for any of you new people in the stream, we do have a pretty active Discord server, and a lot of people are starting to co-op a bit more with each other, which is lovely. And I guess that might have sounded sarcastic, but no, I was being sincere. Let me think about how I want to proceed. I'm going to go back around to the wall from the other side where I was first coming into the area, just to kind of keep that 100% mentality in mind of like looking at each section of this map as we go through it. This is where we were earlier. So yeah, okay. We're going to head that way. I don't think there's too much over here. So yeah, if you guys want to join in the Discord server, you will get the alerts of when I go live, which is always nice, or when I post new videos, which is also another benefit of joining the Discord. We do talk lore there as well, so if you want to bring up more topics without me getting distracted so easily, that's a good place to do it. Other very knowledgeable people also like to help. And so we get our first like Darkwraith, and he doesn't really give a shit about us. He just wants to kill a slug, and now he'll turn our attention to us. But I like these dudes, they're super cool. Wasn't trying to do that. Oof. But it looked cool, so it works out. I forget I can parry with this shield. I should do that a bit more. So we got lucky. We got the dark sword and a cracked red eye orb. So yeah. I'm not going to worry about the ragdoll for now. Looking back at chat. Isaac says, does Richie go by he? I wouldn't have wondered until you watched an AMA. I believe Richie still goes by he. I believe that's how Sin was referring to him lately. But that's a good point. Don't want to be disrespectful, so if Richie gets news of this later on, just let me know if I've mistaken you, and I'll try to be more mindful of that in the future. My apologies. So Victoria says, it's always good to see the young people assisting the elderly. Professor Gomez asks, what's the obsession with From Software with poisonous swamps? It's a very good question. I do not have a very good answer. I guess you can't have all flower fields, daisies, and rainbows I guess is the real message. Miyazaki loves his poison swamps. Brisan says Miyazaki must have had a bad experience in a poison swamp. Perhaps it's where he suffered his traumatic dog attack. That's the real deep lore that we're discovering through these streams. George Clowney says, does the Lord of Cinder have to get all the Lord Souls? You don't see that little dude back in the shrine killing all the gods of his time. So at least, we can give Ludlet the benefit of the doubt of having been burned of some of his better assets. But yeah, maybe he is like that kind of like furtive pygmy figure where he's so easily forgotten. He really does seem to take a lot of pride in wanting to be noticed. Somebody on one of the previous streams mentioned like this dude needed to be noticed so badly he wore a ring to try to gain the attention of his enemies, which is kind of hilarious on a meta level. And Alive Remains a Lie, welcome to the stream. Nice Dark Souls 2 name. You said, are y'all familiar with Bob the Hollow stuff? Been watching his videos lately and he's got some real ambitious interpretations. I've heard the name. I have not checked out a lot of the lore tubers since my first foray into like Dark Souls lore in like 2013 or 2015, something like that. So yeah, I have heard the name dropped a little bit. So Risan says, it seems like the pollution is a theme in a lot of Japanese media, as well as the parallel of nuclear pollution regarding Hiroshima and Nagasaki as seen with Godzilla. Exactly. So, Bridge says, link to the Discord. Okay, yeah. Here is my Discord link right here. Thank you for reminding me. Lucarino says, the Darkwraith shields never made sense. So that's actually the Dark Hand. And unequipped it, I guess. So that's what they use for their shields. And so they were given this in Dark Souls 1. I don't think it was a shield then. Or no, it was. But was it? But that's what they use anyway. Like they're holding out like the Dark Soul kind of like thing and using it to protect them. So that's their shield. Oh yeah. And the sword. Okay, so I'll read this. So this is the pitch black straight sword of the Darkwraith, survivor of the land swallowed by darkness. The Darkwraiths were the first red orb invaders, and originators of a unique sword technique inspired by their thick, broad blades. So we can find out more about them by continuing to fight the Darkwraiths and looking at their set. They were related to New Londo from Dark Souls 1, and they were kind of used by Koth in his ends to try to produce like a Lord of Darkness or like the Lord of Men, which kind of gets rehashed with like Londo? Yeah, Londor in Dark Souls 3. Too many rehashing of names. So that covers the far wall, and here, some more pine resins, which I haven't read yet. And now I'm one-shotting these things, okay. Weird. So this brings us back out to that little ramp that I mentioned earlier. Got a good chunk of health right now. Another Estus shard, which is fantastic. I don't think we can climb up this building right here. I don't remember. I'll read chat while the poison meter goes back down, because, you know, good gameplay right there. So, in Dark Souls 1 it was a shield, but it was transparent, didn't have the red glow. Okay, yeah, that sounds a bit more right. Clowny says, why do the Darkwraiths exist outside of New Londo? Well, New Londo was flooded, and it kind of doesn't exist anymore. As it does say, they are the red orb invaders, so they have been wandering lands looking for more humanity to steal ever since the time of Dark Souls 1, or earlier, presumably. So, Yeah, Clowny says, what the hell, he got Dark Sword the first drop. You farmed for hours once. Yeah, man, so lucky. Unfortunately, I don't even intend to use it this run, but yeah, I was pretty shocked myself. So Lucarino Gordonero says, Brisson says to him, what is that from? Not sure what you're referring to here in regards to the Dark Hand. Michael Monona, welcome back to the stream. You're back from school. Welcome in. Farming in Dark Souls 3, Cat in the Box, welcome you too. Augusto says, you think Seath is a hermaphrodite and he had an affair with Gwyn and birthed Gwendolyn. I don't believe it was Seath directly. I mentioned yesterday there is a word that was lost in translation for the Seath Lord Soul, where it says he was the Gaiseki, or maternal relative to Gwyn, which would mean that Gwyn himself had an Empress Dowager that would have been Seath's daughter or something like that, or at least Seath was directly related to a concubine of Gwyn. So that could presumably be where Gwendolyn comes from, but that's kind of all speculation based on one word. But I'll bring that up in a future video when I do talk about a bit of the translations from Dark Souls that I found. So Victoria says, you wield the secret flame, the fire of Orlando, you shall not pass. Orlando. Okay, so Nightingale says, you always felt that the Darkwraiths were here for the same reason the Abyss Watchers were, because of the remnants of the Abyss are in the catacombs. Also, the swamp is where Ulasil was around. And that's a good point as well. Okay, I'll continue for now. Some more prism stones, which are fairly negligible, but we got them anyway. Don't think there's anything over there, so I'm going to go on that big old ramp. So that's the bonfire from where we first came into the area, and we fought all those slugs and things before. Well, so this is as far as we came earlier. I think I turned around because, I don't know, it's just kind of how I always go through the swamp. I always go to the right first for no real reason other than I like to. I guess I like to visit Elizabeth first is what it is. So I think I picked this up when we first came in here. Okay, yeah. And I don't believe there's any way to get into that tower. So that's pretty much it for now. I think there's also like the dog-esque, or no, I think there are real dogs over by the other bonfire with the Gru. So, yeah. We've explored the edges, so now we're just going to kind of run straight through the middle where we can. So we get some crucified Gru, it looks like, which is kind of weird. I don't know what crucified them. Not worried about those things. We got the patrolling Gru, which I probably should be a bit worried about. Here. George Clowney says the best tale in all of Dark Souls has to go to Priscilla. That's the Estus soup. Maybe I should have just gone to the bonfire and warped. And then jumped down. Oh yeah, I'm getting distracted looking at chat as well. That's what I'm gonna do. I'll just go ahead and warp. And then, yeah. And Giacomi says Priscilla, probably in reference to my bombshell that Seath was related to the concubine of Gwyn. So yeah, I do think there's a very good possibility that Priscilla was a subject of Seath's experiment. She's called a half-dragon. So she might be the daughter of Seath is one way to read that. And if she's like being protected in the painted world, maybe she was the concubine of Gwyn at one point. I know that's some pretty crazy stuff to think about, but that's just kind of what I've been led to believe based on what I've seen of the dialogue. Or not dialogue, but the text. Which is it's completely understandable if people don't want to believe that, but it's just what information I have to go on that I'm sharing with you guys. So if I remember, there is just like item over by these dogs over here. They're not dogs, I just remember them kind of like dogs. pick it up. Oh, it's over by those guys. Okay. Huh. Okay. Yeah, I guess... Okay. Yeah, that should pretty much be everything then. Some moss clumps, get some soup, and then go into Farron itself. Find some cool stuff there. So, again, we don't know who made that soup. Presumably Sigvard, but or Sigurd, however you want to pronounce it. But we do know that he goes towards like the Cathedral of the Deep, and this is a little bit out of that way there. So yeah, this is the door that we've finally just opened, and so that pretty much clears out the swamp, I believe. I think we've gotten everything there for sure. I will go through this area and then off to the right, and then I'll go back to the Shrine Bonfire to use the Estus Shard at Andre. So going back with the chat. Victoria says, you were attempting to make a Gandalf reference that fell flat with the Flame of Anor thing. Anor is Elvish for sun. Okay. I do know that. I don't know. Just a little bit of out of the context because there is that bit of a chat delay between myself and the stream. So Nightingale says to George Clowney, you think that based on their decaying armor, they may have been the same ones from New Lando. I agree. So Lando is clearly a reference to Lando Calrissian. So clearly, Billy D. Williams was the first Lord. That's the deep lore. Nightingale, or George says to Nightingale, doesn't the world blow up when the fire is linked? I don't think the world blows up. I think that's just like the first time it's linked in Dark Souls 1, the Chosen Undead is such a suitable vessel, he like literally explodes with the fire. But if you look at the ending of Dark Souls 3, if you compare those two like side by side, like it really just shows how crappy the unkindled one is, just because they're such terrible kindling, like the fire barely lights at all. It's really sad. Giacomo Rinaldi says, you meant that maternal relative thingy last protagonist was talking about? If Seath is Gwyn's father-in-law, then Gwyndolin is the son of Priscilla. That would explain his connection to the moonfuckery and snakes. That's the way that I take it, personally, but again, there is nothing explicit, and if you don't choose to believe that, you're welcome not to. So George says, did King Lothric become a dragon through the Way of the Dragon? It doesn't seem as though it's the Way of the Dragon because his form is a bit more bastardized, and we know that becoming a dragon becomes only possible when one lets go of their attachments. I guess that's not strictly true with like the stones and stuff, but I mean, that's kind of what it seems to be. It's more of like a religion, kind of in the vein of Buddhism, whereas Osiris is 100,000% devoted on becoming a dragon himself. And so that I would assume like that level of attachment to becoming a dragon would probably be related to his undoing and why he doesn't become one, but it's a bit more out there. I think like if you compare like the Nameless King to Osiris, like that's probably a bit more of the difference. Like the Nameless King is liberated and free. He does whatever the hell he wants. He's the closest to the dragons. He's kind of like a dragon deity to a certain extent. As far as like people go, he definitely represents like the strongest aspects of the dragons, I think, in Dark Souls, whereas Osiris doesn't. So yeah, I guess I wish that his boss fight was a bit more engaging mechanically, but we'll just have to take it. It is what it is. So Nightingale says, it just reignites the large flame which only expands the area around the kiln. It brings the world back into an age of light, which is one where dark still exists, but slightly. Rufio asks, a bit off topic, but have I played Sekiro yet? You would love to see what I can find in the translation of that game. So Sekiro, I have played that. I'm not quite as interested just because it's a bit more straightforward. So yeah. I haven't found like too much of the differences. I mean, like obviously there's going to be more things related to like the localization, and like when Sekiro just says like to come or to wait to Kuro at times, it comes off like really awkwardly in English. So the reason why I just killed, oh that's cool, that grew up there is because he will like shriek and cause these guys to wake up, and they'll become aggro and they can become a pain to deal with. So these guys seem to be or Corvians rather. They seem to be like praying at these graves, so they're probably related to the watchdogs of Farron, because presumably it's the watchdogs who have all died here. Yeah, and there's no other items over here, but yeah, just completely riddled with swords, and a lot of people already know this, but like a sword being like planted blade first into the ground is kind of like the symbol of a grave of a warrior in a lot of cultures, and so that's a really big deal in Japan. That's kind of what those represent, I think. And so these guys are like praying to that Corvian up there, but they're completely oblivious to their leader dying, I guess. As well as like their comrades dying to them, or right next to them. So this is a bit weird, but whatever. Free experience or souls over here. So it seems like there is like a bit of a vigil going on, but other than that, not too much. So we get some more basilisks over there, so that's where we came from earlier. And like the cave with Elizabeth is right over there. So this is a super cool area. You can see that the Darkwraiths are here, and they are fighting all the Gru. And they will continue their patrol. I can't move with this damn binocular set. And you can cause them to aggro you as well. So just for the lore footage, I'll kind of just AFK here and read chat while they do their thing. So Giacomo says, what's more explicit than the description literally calling him a maternal relative? Well, I mean, you're not wrong there. Just part of the issue comes from it doesn't specify who the maternal relative is. Like, we're most certainly able to say that Priscilla could or should be related to him, but we're not given that kind of explicit confirmation. And by that same token, we're not also given confirmation that whomever Gwyn's concubine may have been, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's the person who gave birth to Gwendolyn, or any of his other children for that matter. Coming up quietly. Get that backstab. So if I'm lucky, they should have been hurt a little bit by... Oh, I was probably not at full health. I was going to say they probably should have been hurt a little bit by the Gru, and so that should have been made them a bit easier. But yeah. Okay. So Vanya says, you think the unkindled one isn't bad kindling, but the fire just refuses to go on. I would disagree with that because it's pretty explicit in multiple pieces of text that the unkindling is ash, and ash is obviously not a good source to use for fire in general. So because we're ash, we're unsuitable kindling, and that's why like we come out of the not the untended graves, but what's it called in the actual world this time, the cemetery of ash. So the reason why we're unkindled is presumably because we failed to light the flame earlier. I don't exactly know how that works as far as like the lore goes sometimes. Like, were we a failed champion? Did we get as far as the first flame, or did we like fail before we got that far? It's a little bit unclear, but yeah, we're just not good kindling for the flame, so that's why it doesn't light very much in Dark Souls 3 from the unkindled one, in my opinion. But I do think it's pretty explicit. So Ramus says crystals are often made up to be infectious to one's sanity. Osiros is rather insane, so it is possible he is actually cursed. The Duke's archives is full of crystal zombies, and Logan himself goes mad. And yes, so looking into the crystals shows that they are also close to the nature of life itself. Like the crystal homing mass is imbued with the power of life, which is why it homes on things. And so presumably looking at the very source of life can drive people mad in these games. So it happened to Seath, it happened to Logan. I guess Osiris didn't really look at the soul itself. But yeah. Oops. Cool, they killed the sleeping one. Cold-blooded. And they're splitting up. So I may as well go for the one on the right. If I don't aggro both of them by running. I think there's a third one along the way as well. We got an Ember, which is brilliant. Oops. Thought he was going to stab me. Not steal my life. But that's actually really cool. It's cool footage. Oh, I need to get my souls, don't I? I thought... I need to play better. In general. Oh, too fast. See, sometimes I'll do that. I just like when you focus on the one thing where really just going through normally is probably the better cause of action. So, I don't know. Sometimes it's why I'm really bad at parrying, because I don't need to practice it, just because it isn't always, what's the word? Practical? But, okay, that'll count. Practice makes perfect, but you don't always need to kill them that way, so less incentive to actually go through the trouble of it, because it's less risk reward. So one of the cooler parts of this area is we can hear the Bishwalkers fighting themselves on the inside there. And I'll show that off in a second. And then I'll go back to that other bonfire. And then to the shrine to get the Estus Flask. I'll connect back to the internet. Or I'll fight them once or twice, then connect to the internet, and then summon people. So Victoria says you're just about to move to Japan for a couple of years to understand the cultural nuances of the series. It's that serious. Well, if you're serious, good luck with, like getting the visa and all that stuff set up. You might want to try to go with like the student visa first. That's probably the easier way to do it. But yeah, I understand the drive for sure. Rufio says, you think that in respects to the fire being worse and worse is that the artificial cycle of kindling has been going on for so long that the resources of the flame are waning and going towards correcting itself in the natural order. I think that's another reasonable take on it as well. I think these guys have items that they dropped. No, it's just bright for no reason. Okay. So yeah, there's this other path into like the kind of fortress area. This is another place where people will get invaded a lot, because a lot of people like to summon for the Abyss Walkers, so it's just kind of a natural draw for that to happen. So I will go back through this area and then what's the word? Go to the shrine. Clear this out first because it's really small and connects back to the other area. We get some Gru. They're pointed towards the other portion of the swamp for whatever reason, which just makes it really easy to backstab them, which I just completely failed to do. Some of them are still oblivious, and then we get another gigantic crystal lizard. And this time it should be easier to deal with, although we did get good and dealt with it the first time in the cemetery. This time we should also be able to get like a sneak attack. I meant to use my weapon art, but that totally messed up. We get some cool crystal breath from the crystal lizard, and presumably because it's eaten so many souls, that's why it's imbued with so many crystals, which just kind of reinforces a lot of the attachment to life and crystals and souls throughout the games. some Titanite scales, which is cool. I guess they kind of replaced the Titanite demons, but interesting. Yeah. So this is that locked gate that we came to a very, very long time ago. That's the evil Black Knight from earlier, and then that's where... I had a grab, that was weird. This crucified beast type dude comes in. Oh, that is gonna outrange him. It sounded like he just said die, although I might just be imagining that. Alright, so let me check out the chat real quick. Alda Gusto says, it's confusing what exactly happens with linking the fire and the undead. Some parts of 2 and 3 indicate some undead survived many cycles. I guess that was it? Okay. And Victoria says... Oh, I read that one. Vanya says, they think that when somebody falls, he gets burned by the fire and becomes ash. Or when somebody fails, they get burned by the fire and become ash when they try to link it. Is the flame a thinking being? That's an interesting question. I don't really think it necessarily has thoughts. I guess, you know, there could be beliefs that it could be similar to like how the ring functions in the Lord of the Rings, and that it might have a kind of a sentience to a certain extent, and it might drive people to want things. That's a bit more in line with like the profane flame though. Damn it, I was hoping for a rare drop. Whatever, it's all good. So that pretty much completes the whole Farron Swamp area. And then we get to go see the Abyss Walkers finally. One of my favorites, if not my favorite boss of this game. So Rufio says, you were supposed to move to Nagoya before the corona hit. And you wanted to get a better understanding of Shinto. Yeah, so that's unfortunate. Yeah, Corona's really messed up quite a lot of people's plans, unfortunately. So hopefully you do get that kind of opportunity in the future to visit or to move there. Lucarino says, it feels like those who become the unkindled ash try to link the first flame and they were not strong enough, and so it engulfed them, turning them into said ash. So they must have gotten to it. Yeah, it's possible. I just don't know for sure. So it looks like Cirrus is back. Let's go ahead and talk to her. I don't remember how to start her quest. Maybe this will do it. I need to get closer. It's kind of weird. I don't think she stands up, so this should be good.
Hello again. I have since heard a great deal about you. For one, that you are most gentle of heart. I, too, am bound by duty, but can offer you my sign. I hear that cordial intrusion lays the path to embers. If I can be of help, by all means, do call upon me. Blessing of the moon upon your journey.
So that's the Dark Moon loyalty. So this shows that she is a Dark Moon. Obviously, Cirrus of the Dark Moon. You wouldn't necessarily get that just from talking to her, though. Thought she was gonna keep talking. Okay.
If you should require assistance, use my sign. Blessing of the moon upon your journey.
Alright, so that's pretty straightforward. I think now we can continue on with Leonhard's questline, now that Cirrus has joined us. I don't remember the questline super well. Before I forget, I'm going to beeline to Andre, because I feel like that's something I will do.
Well.
Oh yeah, and we can upgrade the Gut Sword.
It wasn't he?
So I'm going to reinforce the Great Sword. Ah. It's a little bit shy, and for the heavies Vihander, I guess I'll just kind of leave it for now. 251 versus, oh, that does a lot more damage. Thinking. Yeah, I may as well, I don't know. I'll just leave it for now. Oh, and we did pick up more coal, which I forgot to read.
Be careful. I don't want to set.
So I'll catch up on chat, and then I'll read the coal, and then we'll take a quick bio break so I can use the bathroom after drinking so much water. And then, yeah. Okay. So Ramu says that's a really good interpretation to Lucarino, and you said that the big crystals were such a cool addition. Yeah. Victoria says, do you think that the cycle of fire has a set period, or that it's dependent on the soul of the one linking it? I think the latter is true, and that it probably does depend on the soul of the one who links it, just because of what we see, the difference between like Dark Souls 1 versus Dark Souls 3. Rufio says, thanks man, but recently you've been looking at Norway and Iceland. You might end up visiting Japan and staying with a friend of mine, but nothing is concrete yet, but thanks. Yeah, so yeah, hopefully everything works out for you and you do get to where you want to go and be able to see the places that you'd like to see, for sure. Victoria says, the Ashen One insinuates that linking the fire can fail, and you wonder if that's because the soul attempting it is weak. That led you to think that there might be degrees of power when it comes to fueling it, for sure, and that might also tie into whether or not it's the power of the Lord Souls themselves which have power, or the vessels for the Lord Souls which kind of shapes their power. So maybe Gwyn was Gwyn because he's Gwyn, and not necessarily because of the Lord Soul, and the same thing with the Witch and Nito, versus having a specific kind of soul that's more related to chaos versus lightning versus death. But I know that's kind of contentious in the community in general. So Luke says, the primordial serpent in the first one said that the chosen undead must consume the souls of the lords in order to become strong enough to link the first flame. That's true, however, it was also in the serpent's interest to lie, or to deceive the chosen undead, so it's kind of hard to know how much of what they say can be taken at face value. And Rufio says, many have tried, but not all would have succeeded, thus the Ashen One as opposed to the Lords of Cinder. Victoria says to Luke that you have to wonder then, if the souls weren't removed from the flame and used by the proto-race, would the fire have faded in the first place, if we have to consume them to link the fire? Would the fire have been eternal if the proto-race hadn't taken the Lord souls out of it? I would think not, just because it's in the nature of fire to naturally die out. And I think that's kind of what the big message of Dark Souls 3 gets at. Like, the fire is meant to die out, but it will appear again if left as it is to the cycles. But yeah, I do understand why you would think that. So let's go back to the Sage's Coal, and then we'll take a quick 2-minute break or so. So this is a coal used for weapon infusion. The white magic flame produced by this coal was given to the Undead Legion long ago by one of the Crystal Sage twins. Give to the blacksmith in the shrine to allow use of gems from crystal, blessed, and dark infusion. So this is a good way to do like a more intelligence-based build, or have like intelligence scaling weapons. So yeah, this does also tie the Crystal Sage to the Undead Legion again, which is a bit weird that we find them in different spots. I mean, I guess not weird, like I wouldn't expect to fight both of them at the same time, but it seems like one is guarding the way to the Cathedral of the Deep, and we'll find another in the archives. But we do know that the twins kind of split up, it seems. So yeah, that'll be it for now. So I'll get away from Andre's hammering, and then travel back to Farron. Maybe I should level up. How many souls do I have?
Welcome host. Very well, then take note.
Okay, enough to level up. Ooh, close to leveling up again. I might consume some souls to do it.
Farewell, Ashen One. May
Oof, a little bit shy. Wow.
Welcome, host. Very well then taken. Farewell, I may the
What? Oh yeah, he's gonna talk to Leonhard. Okay, so it looks like Hawkwood is left, and I think nothing will happen with Leonhard just yet. Okay, he's gone. Okay. So I'll go back, and then I'll be right back. Alright guys, so stick around, and we'll be back shortly. Alright, and we're back. So I think the smart thing to do, obviously, would be to exit out of the game and save scum it. So if I do kill the Abyss Walkers or whatnot, I can just reload back to this point, and then we can go back and summon in people for some of the extra footage. I keep doing that. So I'll upload the save data, download it, and then we'll be good to go. So Rufio says, you think, as it is, it may have lasted longer without interference, and that may have been what Gwyn thought, thus why he tried to feed his soul to the flame to prolong the Age of Fire. The way that I look at Gwyn would have been that he might have done what he did in an act of desperation. I assume like the flame must have been on the verge of going out, and that he was so concerned about that happening, he threw himself on it to kind of keep it alight. Just because like the other vibes that I get from him doesn't seem like he'd be very self-sacrificing to that end, considering like how he's used the humans, but who knows for sure. That's just the vibes that I get. Victorious is off to walk the dogs. I'll see y'all in Discord. Someone's already reached out about Bloodborne co-op, so you're in good hands. Okay, I'm glad to hear it. So yeah, that's super loud, just because I don't have like the game doesn't automatically adjust the volume on the menu. So Ramu says the fire became somewhat of a meta commentary on the games themselves. That's a fair point. Luke says Aldrich, for instance, consumed so many men and their souls with them, and that he became equivalent in strength with the chosen undead post consuming the Lord's souls. Yeah, so that's kind of why we also have to go back and like collect the Lords of Cinder and force them on their throne, so that we have enough of the requisite strength to link the flame ourselves. But even when we do it, it's really pathetic, and it was probably the same case for all of these Lords of Cinder, and that's probably why... Oh shit. they don't want to do it either. Stun locked. Ooh. Wasn't trying to do that. Whiffed? Okay. No, 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 no. Binoculars got me. That's not that big a deal. I only had 19 souls anyway. I'll just be a bit more patient with dealing with the Darkwraiths, which is fine. So as I was saying, Aldrich, oh yeah, Aldrich consumed so many souls, he became the Lord of Cinder. And so yeah, like we need to kill all of the Lord of Cinders to become strong ourselves. However, even when they lit the flame, it was probably not very effective, just because it seems like if there's already 5 Lords of Cinder and the world's already falling to crap again, damn it. So yeah, I keep doing the same thing over and over. With 5 Lords of Cinder available now, it would almost suggest that their flames must have been weak as well to have so many still alive and lingering around. But all of them don't want to go back and link the flame again, probably because they realize like it's fruitless. Like they have to do it so often, and it's done so poorly that the effects aren't going to stay. Go. Back to Red Eye Orb. We got the lone Darkwraith going off against all these folks. And then we'll deal with the Abyss Walkers, even though I've healed a couple times. I'm not too worried about it. Dark Gauntlets, cool stuff, and the cracked Red Eye Orb. Not gonna worry about him. We got some more Gru. I'll kill them, hopefully. And then I'll read the Gauntlets. So I guess the one up there is not gonna do it. Okay. So these are the gauntlets of the Darkwraiths, relics of a small country that fell to the dark long ago. Looks as if they may crumble to dust at any moment. The Darkwraiths were the oldest of the Red Eye invaders and rumored to have served a primordial serpent. So that small country that fell to the dark long ago is obviously New Londo, and yeah, we've already talked about that in a fair amount of depth. It looks like I'm having a little bit of streaming issues right now. Let me look at the OBS. It should be okay. I guess I'm just having issues connecting to YouTube, which is unfortunate. So Ramoose had to step out. I hope you have a good day, and yeah, have a nice one. And Bridge is stopping in to say, hey, well, you're at a good point because we're about to face the Abyss Walkers. So glad you can step in at a cool time. Watch me get beat the crap out of, because it's been a long time. So we see the Abyss Walkers literally fighting themselves. Some of them have been consumed by the Abyss, but they're all kind of linked by the blood, which has transformed them into a Lord of Cinder. They've already offered their souls to the flame, and so that's why we need to kill them. So they do seem to kind of have an eternal struggle against the Abyss, which is kind of poignant, I suppose. And they've got a dagger and a kind of a long sword that they wield, which is a kind of unique style for combat in the Soulsborne games. I just realized this is going to be harder without the HUD on, just because it's going to be more difficult to tell which is the real one versus the fakes. So the first two will attack me, and then the red eyes ones will aggro on anything. But there's a lot of smoke. I can't see anything. So the two killed the red one really quickly, which is not good for me. It can be parried, but I screwed up. So I'll give it like 1 or 2 more tries, honest tries, and then I'll start to summon people in just for the fun of it. So yeah, I do need to turn on the online when that happens. So if anybody has a Dark Souls 3 load that they want to join in on and fight the bosses with me, you're more than welcome to do so. Just let me know and I'll try to go to your summon signs, and then we can kill the bosses together. Well then, screw work. Yeah, the funny part is, like, my first time fighting the Abyss Walkers, I didn't have too many issues with Phase 1, but I would just be, like, too greedy for Phase 2, and I just kept dying to that over and over. So I would assume, like, Phase 2 should be easier than Phase 1, but I don't know, I just wasn't doing it very well. Oof. I got baited. The third one should be coming up shortly. Rip. So that's the clone. Not trying to kill that one. Oh, missed the backstab. It's unfortunate. I guess that counted as a backstab. Oh, and he phased it. Okay, that really wasn't too bad. For the phase 1 at least. Andrew Kelly, welcome in. You said, shame you're still at work. You have a fast-rolling Smuff on your PS4. Or Smo. I don't know, I said Smuff. So yeah, this is phase 2. All of the blood coagulates into a super-powered, flame-imbued Abyss Walker. So it becomes like embered up again. Definitely a cool soundtrack. He has a lot more AoEs on his attacks. That. And because it's fire, it will do more damage to me, even through my shield. Ooh, that's a bad time to heal. Dude has no chill, obviously with a flaming sword. Oh, that was a bad roll. Angle on it at least. I just need to be a bit more aggressive, I think. Whew. Oh, and I need to heal. I need to heal. I can't heal. Damn it. Okay, that was really not bad. Yeah, that was fun though. Definitely what I wanted. So I'll go ahead and turn on the online co-op play. So if anybody wants to come in, you're good. You're good. Wow, you're golden. Ramus says the parry dagger is a proxy for a gun because you still think the Abyss Walkers are the Lord of Cinder representation of Bloodborne. Tiny Boots, welcome into the stream. Nice to see you again as always. So we'll go turn on online elements of the game. I'll go ahead and Ember up, and then we'll get a good chance to fight the Abyss Walkers. So Andrew Kelly says that their fire mechanics are very reminiscent of Lady Maria's mechanics. To a certain extent, yes. I agree with that. Especially when you add into like the whole like blood motif. Yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from. Yeah, that fight is just so fun to me. Like, I don't know. I don't really know why. I definitely crashed against them super hard my first playthrough. Maybe because it like makes you respect the phase 2, and that would be the easier one if you're like me and you don't like the boss fights where you have to fight a ton of ads. So I need to Ember up and then summon people. So, whose is this? Oh, this is the Pale Shade of Londor? Okay, yeah, so that's possible. So if anybody else wants to step in, let me know, and then I will try to accommodate. If not, you guys don't have a save, that's perfectly understandable as well. I need to change my covenants, would that be easier as well? I mean, that'll summon me automatically, but it might be cool. Wasn't trying to get this guy aggroed. Run away! Maybe I should have gone for the Londor Pale Shade. Just for the footage. But it's all good. So Ramus says you'll put your summon next to the ground near the entrance. Okay. The entrance of the fight, I'm assuming. Let me know when you're good. I'm on a little bit of a time delay, though. I know you can't put it, like, super in. So are you Andre? Andre. Ooh, there's a shiny over there. 2 shinies. Agreed. Hello, Michael. Nice to see you again. Got the Darkwraiths stopping up. Yeah, I don't think I have a password on, so it's a little bit my fault, but it's all good. Oh, cool, they killed it. No, I definitely want to do it. Red Eye Orb. Each other. Not me. Titanite Shard. Back to Red Eye Orb. Heavy Gem. Oh, that's nice. Another Shard. Yeah, definitely need those for the Greatsword, so we're in business. Unfortunately, no more of the Darkwraith set. Oh yeah, and then there was this other summon sign. Blackhand Gotthard. Okay, so Gotthard? The two T's make me think it's an actual T sound. So Moose is called Fedric. You can summon him. Okay. Tanner, welcome into the stream. It's okay that you're late. You're catching us at one of my favorite moments of trying to fight the Abyss Walkers. Andre, still? You said yours was by the entrance. I think Gotthard or Gotthard is a NPC summon. I mean, I know they are. I don't remember what faction they belong to, though. Or did you put it over by the entrance of, like, where the bonfire is? Maybe if I exit and re-enter, that'll like refresh the things here. So I might try that. No worries, Ramoose. I will try to see if this will help us. And if not, I might set up a password, see if that'll help. I mean, that's probably the smarter thing to have done anyway. I just didn't think about it ahead of time. So we're looking for Fedric. The ragdolls of everyone spawning in. Let's see here. So password, I will go ahead and type in lore, all lowercase, just for the sake of the lore. And so once you guys go in, I should be able to see your summons. So Michael's going to try to come in as well. That's awesome. I will have both of you guys just kind of kill the boss, and I'll stand back and watch either you guys win or die with my binoculars. And Bridge says, teamwork is the dream work. Looks like I'm losing some pretty big frames right now. No, it's YouTube's end. It says you're not getting audio. Oh, it's probably because I'm not like actually moving around. Weird. Okay, so let me look for any summon signs. Gotthard, whatever. And remember, this is the PlayStation 4 that we're on. So Tanner says, such a Bloodborne flavored boss. Shared blood, agile hunters removing a plague, fighting each other when they see it in each other. Yeah. And that's what, who was it? Just mentioned it earlier. Andrew Kelly also mentioned like how a lot of the fight is pretty reminiscent of like the Maria boss fight in Bloodborne as well. So, Nade, welcome back to the stream. It's always nice to have you. You said that there's the chalice in the back too? Oh yeah, for like the Bloodborne motif, for sure. Capturing all the blood. So unfortunately, I don't seem to be getting... Oh, I was just about to call it too. So we got Fedric, so that's Ramus, that's brilliant. So we get some of that jolly cooperation, which is really going to be more like a one-sided cooperation, where Ramus will try to one-shot the boss for me, while I get some third-party perspective lore footage, I suppose. I might help them and then just get them to phase 2, just to get some of that good footage. Alright, here we go. Sorry, Michael, I guess you're a little bit too slow. But we might have another chance as well. Oof. So phase 2. Okay, this is going pretty well. Pete Coyle, welcome to the stream. He said, watching these encounters while not playing really lets you enjoy the beauty of the audio and the quality of the design and animation of the bosses, for sure. I should skip this. It's really cool though. I do really like the visuals there. So like the blood becomes fire, it imbues the dead Abyss Watcher with life again. Comes back up. Super cool, super iconic. And so yeah, Michael, don't worry, I will reset the game just to get the boss fight over again, or we might die, who knows. I don't intend to help out so much in phase 2, so if that happens I will die, and then I'll save the game just to keep the little Titanite shards that we farmed earlier, unintentionally. Should get my souls, not very cinematic with a bunch of dead glowing green over there. Missing it. don't know about you guys, but I'm really having fun. Just kind of chilling out. That was awesome, man. Thank you so much, Ramoose. That was brilliant. Thank you. Oh, that was really a real fun treat. Okay. So yeah, once again, thank you, Ramoose. That was brilliant. So Michael, I will go ahead and just reset the game so that way you can get your chance for glory as well. Get some more stream interactions as well. And then I might kill it myself, or try to, just for the fun of it, because it is one of my favorite fights. So let's go back to the main menu. So El Gusto says, so are daggers the lame arm of Artorias? So I think in the actual fight with Artorias, he is right-handed, but if I remember correctly, like the sword that talks about like all of the wielders being left-handed, it sounds more explicit, or maybe not explicit. Yeah, maybe. So it sounds more final or in English, but the Japanese uses like the typical FromSoft dialogue where it's like, oh, perhaps all of the wielders were left-handed. So it's not strictly true. It's just kind of one of those things that it doesn't seem like an important detail at first, but they do like to play up some of that mystery and make things a little bit less clear at times. So the more you look at the lore, the more questionable certain dialogue can seem, where they tend to use a bit more modals to say like, oh, maybe this has happened, or perhaps this is the case, or whoever did this thought so. So that doesn't necessarily mean that stuff actually happened. So let's go ahead and ember up again. And so this time we should be able to get in Michael, or maybe both Michael and Ramoose. The real Nido Torpedo. Jolly co-op. Not much of co-op. I did get one of the dudes off your back for a little bit, but yeah, that was definitely a fun watch, and you made it a cinematic experience, so thank you for that jolly co-op. Indeed, my good sir. So let's run past the Darkwraiths again, and then wait for more summon signs to appear. Oh, so I don't know if I'm actually online right now, because I used the old save. I guess that'll be obvious once we find like a bunch of, what are they called? Yeah, no blood splatters, so I'm going to assume not. I forgot to turn it on. Silly. I don't remember if turning it on from the actual game turns it on. I guess we'll figure it out. So Michael, if you're still around, go ahead, put down your summon sign, and Ramoose, if you want to as well, and anybody's more than welcome. Yeah, we did get some good footage, Ramoose. You need an agent? You can put the sign again if I want. Devlin Teeling, welcome to the stream. You said, loving the vids, however, the pre-recorded ones, audio seems to be really quiet. This live stream is fine, however. So yeah, some of my very first videos, I did have like a lot of audio issues. Many of those issues were more of my fault as opposed to anything like different. So I'll put the password back to lore for those who want to participate. So I don't think this will spawn me online just quite yet. We can see. Will the HUD actually say if I'm online or not? Maybe not. I don't know. It's weird having the HUD on now. Right, I'll just refresh just to be safe. And then we should be able to summon in. Nightingale says, it could be his shield arm, which was broken by Manus. Either way, it's not that important, so you don't mind what was his real sword arm, besides giving the bigger nerf for his boss lore. Okay. Michael put his summon sign down, and Elda Gusto says, "You think there's some unsaid secret lore where Nito must have used to work with Gwyn for the undead curse as it messes with life and death?" That's a very good possibility as well. I don't know what Dark Souls 2 has to add with like the finito and all of that stuff though. So we get another Fedric, and then hopefully Michael will be able to show up as well. Alright, Michael, so you said you put your summoning sign down, and are you using the password that I've provided, which is lore, all under case? I'll give it about 3 more minutes. Hopefully we find his summoning sign. If not, I will continue, unfortunately. Surprised the Darkwraiths have stopped. Maybe because I'm too far away and they haven't spawned in. Michael says, "Hold, people won't stop." So yeah, now if you guys have like some of your more Bloodborne related questions, this would be one of the easier times where I'm able to answer. When I'm not focused on other things right now. So El Gusto says, "The Finito and Milfinito are implied to be the creations and children of Ito, and the Finito guard a great tomb where the undead sleep their cursed existence away, hinting that they may be from other ages." Okay. Not too much straight connection with the curses, I suppose. But another interesting thing about like Nito and the not untended, but the grave of the giants is that like it seems to absorb light there by like the kind of lanterns that we use there, all of that, and going along with the Tomb of the Undead Giants. Another thing worth mentioning is like the Japanese calls it like the Tombs of the Giant Gods. So going back to earlier discussions about whether like gods are related to giants or not, that does get brought up again from that perspective as well. So Ramus put on a new costume, he says. Check out the fashion. So Michael says it's not working. Okay. Well, I thank you for the effort, Michael. Sorry we couldn't get you summoned in, but we'll go ahead and clear the Abyss Walkers again. Shine your armors for the camera. Alright, this time I'll skip the cutscenes. Ah, failed parry. Oh, I'm surprised that hit me. It's the red-eyed. He's coming straight for us! So it seems like you can't backstab the boss, no matter what. Phase 2. So I'll run away and then use the binoculars. Yeah, compared to like Bloodborne, there is no like real default set for Dark Souls, so it's a little bit weirder for me to get like the lore footage because I did like to have the kind of default set, because like it could be an anybody hunter situation. Whereas, oh wow, he wrecked him this time. Holy crap! Alright, so yeah, I'll give this, I'll try it once more on my own, just because I want to, because I like the fight. But this will pretty much conclude the stream for today, because we'll be going for, like, the Catacombs of Carthus next. It's a good stopping point. So, as far as the lore goes, that'll be pretty much it. If you guys need to head out and do some other things, that's understandable. I do like to stream for about 3 hours if I can, but I do like the Abyss Walkers fight, so I'm going to go a little bit longer just to save scum and have some fun. So thank you everybody for showing up today who has. If you want to join the Discord, it's one of the easier ways to stay in touch and get alerts for when I go live. I should be releasing a new video today where I do talk about the channel memberships, so hopefully that'll be a bit clearer, and then the next time we stream, we will get some of the custom emotes that we can all share and have fun with. So yeah, thank you all for showing up, and enjoy me getting my butt kicked by the Abyss Walkers, and realizing just how much of a badass that Rammus is throughout these fights. So Cameron McConnell, welcome back to the stream. You ask, what does the text on the Kirk hammer say? Unfortunately, it seems to be a bit of a gibberish. We haven't completely unlocked what each symbol on it is a reference to. So Bad Lad is a lore theorist who can be found on like the Bloodborne subreddit Discord. He also posts on Reddit from time to time where he's examined all of the runes that are on the face of the Kirk hammer. And so there does seem to be a few repeating patterns. So because they do repeat so frequently, it leads, it seems like it's more going to be gibberish than anything intelligible, unfortunately. El Degusto says, birthing new species into existence could explain his power being spent. Oh, the Tomb of the Giants Gods is a useful bit of lore. Yeah. So it is pretty unfortunate that it wasn't called like the Tomb of the Giant Gods. Maybe, I'm pretty sure like the area says it as well. But if not the area, I do know that there are a few descriptions which explicitly call it like the Tomb of the Giant Gods. So, and in this case, it does seem that like giant is modifying gods, and it's not like look at, it's not trying to say that it's the Tomb of the Giants Gods, like possessive. So yeah, let's try to get a decent run here. Thank you, Brisson, and hopefully we'll see you guys next time when you do stop by. Oh, out of stamina. Getting ganked. Oh, no, 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 no. Okay, so this one's the real one. Oh, sweet. That was a lot smoother than I was expecting. But we'll go with it. Oof. Ooh. Should have gotten hit by that fire. I thought I killed it for a second. Alright, so yeah, I got it myself. That was a good run. Second time on my own. Well, I mean, second time to phase 2 at least. So thank you all for stopping in and indulging me in that kind of selfish boss fight for a couple times. And once again, thank Ramoose for allowing me to get some of that third perspective footage. That could be some really cool stuff for some lore videos when we go into that later. So yeah, that'll pretty much be it for now. I will catch up with the chat for a little bit and then end it shortly after that. So Eldegusta says, So why was the Vileblood Queen immortal? Was she a previous attempt at birthing a Great One child through her? So yeah, that's a good possibility that like the more impure her blood becomes, the more close she becomes to the Great Ones herself. And so if Great Ones can exist beyond death, that could explain why Annalise doesn't fully die. She might be close in the nature to the Great Ones. So it's not explicit whether or not she herself is one, but if not, she's probably close to one. That's all I have to say about that, I think. So Ramu says, "'Twas a fun stream, my dude. Thank you for stopping in and participating." Pete Coyle said, "Smashed it. Thanks for the great stream, LP. Mazel tov. Good stream." Bridge said, "Super fun stream, worth missing work for." Oof, I don't know about that, but thank you. And thanks for all the GGs, and then hopefully next time we stream, we will be able to use those kind of customized GGs, and I am excited to reveal those going forward into the next stream as well. So once again, thank you all for stopping by, and I hope you all have a good day, and we'll catch you next time, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. Have a good day.